This is the Vision 79 podcast, where myself, Mason, and my friend Sander discuss recent developments in our current business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in our business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small, just like us, but very few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Each episode is broken down into 3 segments, each covering our progress over the past week. We start by discussing our life updates, then our business updates, and lastly, we share any lessons we've learned over the past week. So what life updates do you have this week?
Um, not too many life updates this week, I don't think.
One day we'll have a following that's more than 15. And
no,
someone's
actually,
gonna
actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was looking at it yesterday and we got like 48 subs.
Yeah, well the
And I was like, I don't even know 24 people that are on like 48.
yeah. Someday someone's gonna put together a compilation of like it'll be one clip of me going, "So what do you have this week?" And then like 50 of you going, "I didn't live any lives this week." Like back to back to back. Well, that's what I'll play. That's what I'll play at your funeral if you die before me. He lived he lived a
He lived no life.
I'll have him tell you how he lived his life. And then every week it'll be like, "Nope, just business."
Oh
update."
shit, man, it sucks, dude. No, actually, it's funny you mentioned that because the only life update I have on here is that Sammy went camping this weekend, which has nothing to do with me at all. Well, it's literally the only thing I could think of last night.
But she told you about it when she got home, right?
Well, she's not home yet, but
But
she will.
she's going to. And when that happens, it's like you were there.
It is. It is like I was.
So you can hack. This is leverage when it comes to free time. You can enjoy extracurricular activities without using the time or resource to do so
Exactly.
by having someone who's good at storytelling tell you all about it.
Exactly. Yeah, but
Is Sam good at storytelling?
yes, yes,
Yes. Okay. Cool.
for legal reasons. Just kidding. No, she's great. But no, it's funny. She went with or she's going with right now, Emily or one of her friends, another one of her friends who's a girl, and then somebody else I think,
I can tell you're.
and then Pez, that guy who rides the motorcycle, and um Brad and one of their longtime friends as well. It's like a group trip or
Cool.
whatever. And it's funny because they'll send me like videos and stuff or whatever they're doing. They're cave. They found some caves or something up in northern Florida, or whatever. Exploring. It looks cool. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess in terms of life, I went to Noble Tea a couple times or a few times this week to grab coffee.
Yeah.
To get out of the house because sometimes it's tough when you wake up and then like you don't go outside like at all. Like I have those days where it's like I don't leave the area of like kitchen to living room to bedroom
Yeah.
to bathroom.
You know, part of the reason I feel that I have much less energy now than I did in college and high school, is because in college and high school I would start my days on the water with the sunrise,
Mm.
and so you're active and getting sunlight, which is stimulating your body to start producing the wake up chemicals, right?
Yeah,
And now I have my drive to work, but that's about it, right?
yeah,
But I have found that when I am exposed to sunlight for like more than 30 minutes in the morning, I feel way better throughout the day
yeah,
and have way more energy.
yeah.
I look forward to the day that I can start my day that way instead of cramming caffeine into me.
I did have sunlight today, but it was as I was going to bed, not waking up.
That's
So,
the
a
opposite of rainy.
different flavor of what I needed. But yeah, no real life updates. I have some really good business updates that are life related later. Some good ones. Some
It'll-
really good lessons learned this week.
It's all kind of the same thing, right? Like life,
Yeah.
business, and lessons learned. It's just categorizing like what flavor of life did you live this week?
We aim to make it entertaining for all of you by categorizing down into fun, small, nibble categories.
I'd like to be clear. I don't care about people watching this. I am making these videos for future Masons to go back and look at things because when I have to work on the Camaro in 3 years, I would kill to have one of these videos of me talking about the work I did on the Camaro when I did the transmission job, because my notes are terrible from that time. My video content doesn't exist, so I have nothing. But I can extrapolate that into business and other stuff. So I can go back and I can prevent myself from having to relearn the same lesson multiple times.
Yeah.
Uh,
But what about you? What you got for life this week?
I
Yes.
was, I, as you were talking, like just thinking of shit, you're like, oh, well, I went and got coffee one day, which is like the most mundane life update you could probably like
It's actually a
right.
really nice treat.
I know, but in the scheme of like life updates in general, like trying to remember what you did and then being like, well, I went and got coffee seems pretty mundane. And
It's
I was thinking to myself, I was having the same thoughts before we started recording, and I wrote down as many of the mundane things I could to try to have some type of life update to give a report. My very first bullet point is that I had a phone call with a billionaire this week.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Which it's funny to think of, oh yeah, mundane activities. And that's the first bullet point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have a friend who grew up in Miami in like a wealthy neighborhood. And so he was mutual friends with like some kid. And recently that kid has reached out to them because he's getting involved in the family business. The family business sells fuel cells to major companies. So like, for example, this is actually someone who I'll be reaching out to. The American Muscle Car Museum has a big solar field because they want to produce their own energy for the Muscle Car Museum. They don't want to buy it from the city. Um,
Yeah.
this company would come in and they would install natural gas fuel cells that would power all their stuff. Or I think they partner with turbine companies and they'll put generators on your facility. And then they'll bring in like hydrogen gas and biogas
Yeah.
fuels to run those generators. Um, so you can generate all your own electricity. They partner with huge companies like the big name BlackRock type companies. They had a little like graphic that they showed me, and in 2023, their gross was like 3 billion. That
Wow.
company or something like that, um, which is pretty cool. And so we got on the phone with this guy because the kid is now getting into his dad's business, who has started this business. And the kid, he's like our age, older than me, right? He's trying to find clients, and so he was talking to the guy I know, and then the guy I know was like, I know someone who works at Northrop Grumman, and so we all got on the phone, and they were like, who do you know at Northrop Grumman? And I was like, no one who would be in charge of buying this shit.
Yeah.
Um, but I do know a couple other people. And then I thought of Mark from the Muscle Car Museum. I also know the owner of a smaller independent defense contracting company on John Roads who are looking at expanding, I think, in other countries. Um, so that's cool too. So I have like a couple different people to reach out to about it. It was a fun thing. Um, Interestingly, the billionaire guy, very similar personality to Mark, like, kind of eccentric, like type shit. He had, like, a bunch of funny stories and stuff. He was just like a goofy goober.
Yeah.
And so, like, now that's 2 out of 2 billionaires that I have met have both been, like, goofy goobers, and I really love that. Uh, so that was a cool phone call. Um, I got my new license plates for my cars.
Yeah.
I think I've shown you already on the Lexus.
Mhm.
I got the blue Save Our Springs plates, and they're matching 6-speed V8 and 8-speed V6 plates.
Mhm.
Um, so I have to get a, license plate cover for the Camaro. The Lexus is also disgusting. It's super gross. I haven't cleaned it in a long time. But one of the contractors that I'm partnering with is a mobile detailing company, and I get 15% off, me and all my clients, so I could get the whole thing detailed inside and out for like $100. So
Whoa.
that's a pretty good deal.
That
They'll come to your home and do it like whenever.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Um,
100 bucks. I'd pay 100 bucks to not sweat my balls out outside for 2 hours.
yeah, right? And they'll do the inside too.
Nice.
So I'm looking at getting that done. I haven't actually looked at doing it because I have to afford it first, and I don't know about that. Um,
Yeah,
so
I say I'd spend 100 bucks. I don't spend fucking $4 on a coffee.
yeah, I
So
know.
yeah.
But the Lexus, I really want to keep it nice as long as I can, and it's getting to the point now where it's like it's just dirty enough that it bothers me. Um, and I know I have to take care of that at some point, and I haven't used this company. I've seen their work. I've met the guy. I've watched him do a job, but I haven't had it done on my cars yet. I'd really like to have it done on my cars, write a Google review, and then refer it to people from first
Mm.
experience. Um, so maybe I wonder if I can count that as a business expense because that would make it easier. Then it basically factors out to like an $80 job because it's tax free.
Mhm.
I don't know. If I'm partnered with them, maybe. So a couple smaller updates I've made. I changed my calendar to be a rolling calendar. Do you know what that means?
No.
I didn't either. I just had this thought. So, in my business update, I had a meeting scheduled for Friday, and then we had to push that to Monday. And my calendar showed Monday to Sunday. So Sunday evening, I'm not looking at any of next week's calendar. I have to hit a button to go look at next week's calendar, and I never remember to do that. But this is an important meeting, and I didn't want to forget about it. So I went into my calendar and I changed it to be a rolling calendar. So
Oh,
now
yeah.
the leftmost date is the current date.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I'm always looking a full week in advance. So now I know I have my meeting on Monday. I've got a city council meeting on Tuesday. I'm not going to forget. There's apparently a money models workshop on Wednesday. I don't even know what that is. I put that in there months ago. $100 million virtual launch workshop.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. See what I mean?
Will you forward me the link?
Yeah, sure thing. I think I can
That's so
oh,
cool.
invite via link. Let's see what this does. Copy link. And I can email this to you.
Is
You
it
want-
like some weird misprint of the live stream or
No,
that's
they
just saying?
at the live stream, they gave me they were like, "We're having $100 million something." At the launch event, they were like, "Do you want to sign up for all our future whatever we're doing?" And I was like, "Yes." And so this must be one of them. But
Oh god.
in my previous calendar settings, I wouldn't have even seen this until Monday because
Yeah.
my weeks start on Mondays. Um, so I changed that. Just kind of like a small thing that made a big difference in my life. Sometimes I find little tech things that I think help, and then they end up not doing anything. Like, do you remember that the app that I had, the Someday app, where it was like, "This is a
Oh yeah.
task I want to do today." That was really awesome for about 3 weeks, and then I stopped using it, and I haven't ever gone back to it. And that's just kinda how tech things go, right? Like, they always say if you haven't been using it consistently for a year, then it doesn't help at all, right? This is something that in my my first week, I've really liked, and I'm gonna stick with. I can't do it on my phone, but it's cool. Um,
Yeah. I like that the rolling calendar because I have the same thing.
mhm. You can do it in Google Calendar on your desktop, but not on the
Yeah.
mobile app.
Yeah.
I also changed my phone settings to have a larger text size on the phone because I found myself mistyping so frequently that I would get angry. It would ruin my day. So I changed the text size to be slightly larger, so the keyboard's slightly larger. So
Yeah.
I'm making less spelling errors. It's helping a lot.
Nice.
And while I was doing that, I also realized that my email inbox had like 10,000 junk emails in it. So I went and I cleared all that out. And then I was like, oh, I should clear out my voicemail too, because I have a bunch of missed voicemails from contracting
I
companies.
got so many.
Dude, it goes back to 2019. I have so many voicemails. Um, so I went through and I started listening to those. Um, I ended up not deleting a lot of them actually. A lot of them, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those. It's like a time capsule. It's not sentimental per se, because a lot of them are from like old girlfriends or like
Sure.
old friends that I don't hang out with anymore. But it's kind of like it's like a glimpse into the past, because otherwise you're looking at like videos or photos or like written conversations, but it's not the same as like someone talking to you in the moment, you know? It's
Yeah.
interesting. So I'm actually keeping a lot of them. But while I was doing that, I learned about Apple's new phone call screening um, function, where if you call my phone, I have it now set up so that you call me and immediately it goes to an operator and they're like, hey, we're going to try to get this guy on the phone. What do you want to talk about? And then a little text bubble pops up and you type, hi, Mason, I just want to talk about the podcast on Sunday. And then it sends that to me as a text basically in the phone app. And then I can look at that and go, I'm not talking to this guy right now. And then I'll hang up. And then the operator goes, we couldn't get a hold of this person right now. Or I'll go, oh, what Sander wants to talk about is more important than what I'm doing right now. Please hold. And then I'll pick up the phone. So
Ah.
you can ask people to basically leave like a mini voicemail before the call goes to voicemail, which I think is really cool. So I set that up.
Hmm.
Um, it also will automatically send, and it did this with the iOS 26 update. It now automatically sends phone numbers that AT&T has labeled as spam to my voicemail. And then it'll tell me, you have missed a phone call from this number, which is irritating to me because some real estate agents have their numbers flagged as spam calls because they do cold call outreach.
Yeah.
And that means I'm not getting phone calls from listing agents, right? Or like potential clients. So I turned that off. So now I'm accepting phone calls from spammers again. But I have this call screening on. So for any unknown number, that little text bubble thing pops up and they have to write to me. So hopefully that deters scammers. But That was pretty cool.
Hmm.
My next life update, I had a meeting with Justin last night. So you mentioned earlier this week that Sammy was talking about a contract that Boeing and Northrop are in contention with, and Boeing.
Yeah, yeah. She mentioned something that she heard, and then
Mm,
I was like, "What?" Because she was talking about it like they got some contract last week, and I was like, I'm really?" And I was like, just confused.
that
So I
could be the
texted you.
case. All the defense contractors fight for contracts all over the place, right? There's one really big one right now that is in hot debate and hot contention. Um, it's the contract for the new fighter jets that are going to go on the aircraft carriers, right? They want like a stealth version of that
Mhm,
fighter. Um, so Lockheed, Boeing, and Northrop were the top three like contestants. Lockheed and Northrop made a backdoor deal where they said, "Hey, I won't go for the F-22 replacement if you don't go for this." They're calling the FCA or Future Carrier Aircraft, and they agreed. Boeing went for both. Boeing got F-47, the F-22 replacement, which is a huge, huge contract and a big deal given how poorly Boeing has been doing in the public persona lately with their customer aircraft. Military aircraft are different. They've got a whole different set of regulations they have to meet. So just because they're doing poorly on the commercial front doesn't mean that they're going to build bad military equipment, right? But by the same token, Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman have very deep roots in stealth aircraft, and like, I don't I Boeing hasn't done anything like that to date that is public knowledge, so it's kind of a risk that people are noticing with the government giving that contract to Boeing, but in any case, huge like, hundreds of millions of dollar contract going to Boeing, right? So it's seen as unlikely that now in this future carrier aircraft, competition that only Boeing and Northrop are a part of. Boeing just got a big contract. It's unlikely that they're gonna get a second big contract because then you're putting all your eggs in the Boeing basket, and boy howdy, that's not a basket that I think you wanna be putting everything in.
yeah.
So everyone has been looking for Northrop to get it. But it hasn't happened yet because the Navy, my current understanding of it is that over the past year, the Navy was greenlit a budget by Congress, and the Navy wanted to spend that money on building new boats.
Mhm.
Congress wanted them to spend that money on this new airplane. And so that they were in a deadlock, right? Trump increased the Navy's budget, and then Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, greenlit the Navy to go spend that money on boats and airplanes. And so supposedly in this budget that the government is shut down over right now is the selection for that contract. So
Oh, got it.
supposedly when the government shutdown is listed, a selection will be made and announced. I think it's going to be Northrop. And
Hmm.
so I want to buy Northrop Grumman stock, right? This is all public knowledge, so it's not insider trading at all, but I want it to be. So I want to buy Northrop stock, but I don't know how to buy stock, right? Um, so I talked to Justin because he does his day trading dealio, right? And I was like, hey, he set me up with a crypto wallet and lost me a bunch of money in crypto last year, like 50 bucks. He was like, put $50 into like Bitcoin and Pepe or whatever. And I was okay. So I was like, you've already lost me money once before in crypto, and now I want you to lose me money in the stock market. He was like, okay. So he walked me through. He uses a platform called E-Trade,
Mhm.
to do his day trading with stocks, and you can do the same thing with like S&P 500 companies. And so he walked me through how to use that. I thought it was interesting. I currently have an investment account that my parents set me up with. Like every birthday growing up, my grandparents would send me $100 check. 50 of that would go to me, which I would burn on Legos immediately, like a meth head. I would just spend it on drugs immediately, right? And then 50 would go into this account that my dad gave me when I graduated college. Um, and so that account is invested in the S&P 500 with a company called Vanguard, which is a big investment company. It's like Vanguard and BlackRock, Justin told me, are like the biggest investment companies ever, right? Um, and so I told Justin, yeah, but it's a money manager account, so I can't touch anything. They do it.
Mhm.
And so we looked into my account, and that's not the case at all. I'm completely wrong. It's just all in one stock, VOO, which is the Vanguard S&P 500 ticker. And I don't pay them money managing fees at all, and I can buy independent stock. So I was like, oh, cool. I already have the tools to do this. But the user interface looks a little bit different. So then Justin taught me about dividend income because some companies you only make money on giving you $5 today, and then in a year that $5 is now worth 10, right? there's other companies that will pay out dividend income to their shareholders. So Coca-Cola is a famous one for this. And so Justin was showing me um, in the S&P 500, if you bet on all the horses, some of those horses are going to pay dividend income. So if you hold S&P 500 stock, you are getting some of that dividend income, and then you can reinvest that. So famously, Warren Buffett just got paid out like 750 million in dividend income from his shares of Coca-Cola, which is
Nice.
crazy. Um, but I was like, oh, this is cool. So like I bought one share of Coke on Vanguard, and now I'm buying one share of Coke on E-Trade. I made an E-Trade account, and I'm going to use each of them and see what I like more, and then I'm just going to move everything over into one, I think.
Mhm.
Uh, but that was a fun conversation I had with Justin yesterday. And then we started talking about our 401ks because all our money is locked in that account. We can't touch it unless we quit our jobs or file for financial hardship. Um, and I think it's bullshit because they're investing that money as if I'm going to pull it out when I'm 65. So it's probably a blend of stocks and bonds. It's probably not a super aggressive trading strategy, right? But I want it to be a super aggressive trading strategy because I want that money in the next year or two. So Justin told me that there is a way that we can tamper with it, but we have to learn about it. So I think we're going to meet up and do that tonight, and I'm excited.
Oh, cool.
And my last life update is that the Formula One Max Verstappen fifth world title dream is dead. I was a fool to ever believe it, and my hopes are crushed. Qualifying was yesterday. I've watched every practice session and like listened to every interview and everything. Did not look good. The McLarens had crazy pace. So Lando was on pole by like a quarter second to P2. Max is P5 and Oscar's P7. So yeah, that's a bummer. But we'll see. We'll see. So it's Lando and P1 and then both Ferraris behind him. And in the interviews after qualifying, they were like, "Oh, Lewis, welcome back to the top 3." Like,
Damn.
yeah, it has been a while, but
Sad.
they asked the Ferraris, they were like, this is a great opportunity to score a double podium for Ferrari. Do you think you're just going to let Lando take it into turn 1 and then secure the podium? And they both were like, we're going to be really aggressive into turn 1 tomorrow. Like we're both going for the win here. So there's a chance that the Ferraris can like completely fuck up Lando's day and keep the title fight like alive. But I don't know. The race is at
If you
4.
had to bet on one team fucking up the strategy,
Yeah.
it'd
Well,
probably
here's the thing.
Ferrari.
Oh man, dude, these crazy stats came out last week. Um, the stats are percentage of race starts that a driver maintains position, loses position, or gains position, right? And it ranked like the top. I forget who the drivers were. There were a lot of very famous names in there, right? It was like all the previous world champions, and then all the best drivers in the modern era, like Daniel Ricciardo, right? Who's now retired, and Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, right? Everyone had their percentage of lost positions on the start. Max was like 0.06%. So he never loses positions on the start, right? Um, a couple of them from like the older eras where you did like way fewer races were like 22%, right? Lando Norris has a 45% chance of losing positions on the start every race. So
Okay.
you've got Lando on pole, who's a professional in fuck it up lap 1 and the race start, right? Ferrari, who's professionals at fucking up strategy, but has the potential to completely flip that narrative if they nail the strategy and make everybody happy, right?
Mhm.
And then the longest run into turn 1 on the track, on the grid. So you never know. Anyways, the race is at 4 today. I'm excited to watch
Cool.
it. Yeah, and then after that, I'm gonna spend the rest of my evening not sleeping and doing business stuff. So
There you go.
great segue into your business update this week. What do you got?
So the branding did finally launch. The rebranding launched via split test
Hell yeah.
on Thursday night, Friday at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
Um, so and it was a lot of work right up until the end. Even the split test itself was complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had to contact Intelligems, the company that hosts the split test, and I had to get the staff to enable a feature for advanced settings that are not traditionally enabled to allow me to actually test in the way that I needed to test.
What features?
I need to be able to integrate 2 different tests at the same time. I had to be able to integrate a theme test where I test 2 different themes and a URL redirect where because the gramophone product was a different URL on each site.
Got it.
But all of the traffic is coming from the ads, which have one link. So I need to add a conditional based URL split based on what side of the split test they land on. So
And that function's not available. Like,
not integrating them together at the same time. You can do them separately, but not at the same time. So yeah, it was a lot of work right up until the end. But the social media rebrand launched. The YouTube videos for each product went up on the YouTube channels. Um, it was just some minor tweaks on the website this week, and a couple more small things. And so that launched Friday night alongside the advertisements that the branding person created. They launched in the main umbrella CBO campaign that I have. And what I told them I would do is I will launch them for a week um, if at no point they exceed, I think I said 75% of total budget per day, then I will move them into a separate CBO campaign with targeted ad spend at $100 a day. If they maintain break even ROAS, I'll run them for 3 to 7 days. If they are 25% above break even ROAS, I will scale until break even ROAS is hit and then graduate them accordingly to some scale function. If they're 25% below break even ROAS, I will not run them past 3 days.
got it. So
So
they have 3 days to hit 25% below ROAS.
yeah, they got essentially after this point, um, implying that the ads don't hit 75% of total budget, I will put them in a separate campaign and work from there.
Got it.
It's so what so this is where stuff gets really, really. And actually, before I get into all this, I'll do this quick little tidbit thing. Um, my mentor texted me this week, and he was like, "Hey man, like I sent him the reband, and he was like, dude, looks amazing,
Yeah.
awesome job. I wanted to let you know." He was texting me. He was like, "I lost my data pixel this week," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, the business manager that because so he had a data pixel that gathers all the data.
Right.
The business manager that owns that pixel
Mhm.
is not the business manager he runs the ads through." Because there's actually an associated risk, right? If you have ads running in a business manager and then the ads get locked up, there's risk that that business manager gets locked up. So traditionally, you have the Pixel data collection system owned by a different business manager.
Right.
That other business manager got locked up this week.
Even though it's not associated with any of the ads?
Correct.
So how would they have found that and triggered that? How would that have triggered a shutdown?
I'm not sure, but I mean, like, all this stuff can be very random flags, right?
Hmm.
You know? And he was like, "Hey man, want to let you know I lost my Pixel this week. I'm fighting, he's fighting back for it." And he has a lot more resources than I have at my disposal in order to fight this kind of stuff, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's got
He knows Mark.
he knows people around him to resolve issues that I can't resolve, right?
Right.
Um, but he was like, set up a backup Pixel because that's something he didn't have and I didn't have. And I was like, great idea.
So you're sending the same data to 2 different pixels.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you have essentially you're working with 3 business managers at that point. You have your main running your ads in your ad account.
2 backups.
Then you have 2 different backup business managers,
Yeah.
which each have a pixel, and you have your main pixel that collects data, and then you have it fed through this tracking program called WeTrack that I use.
Mhm.
You have that data from the main pixel that's used to run the advertisements feed its data to a backup pixel that just sits stagnant. That way you populate a backup pixel in case you ever lose it. So
Right.
I set that up this week to have that because that was an awesome little lesson learned.
Yeah.
Something I appreciated. But
Yeah.
um, so this week I had a very interesting week this week. Um, the current ads, right? So we'll go back to the rebranding and the advertisements. That was kind of like a little bit of a jump. I just want to mention some before
Got it.
because this is a bigger dive in. So the ads that launched in the CBO campaign,
CBO.
the main campaign that I have,
Okay.
the new ads from the branding person,
Uh-huh.
those ads very, very low spent. So
But this is the same campaign
right.
as your winning ad. Correct. Historically, you've seen every other ad also get listed.
Yes. So nothing surprising there. But what was kind of interesting to me was it it wasn't like, or at least not at the moment, it's not like low spend to the point that like it's not low spend, but also better than anything I've ever done, right? Like it could be at like, let's say $10 a day, which would be low spend,
Right.
right? But maybe my personal best was $5 a day. So this is still better than my personal best, right? It was actually, I've had a lot of advertisements that have spent more,
Got it.
which was interesting. Even though they've all been low spend,
Right.
I've had
And
ads
compare
that
if
have
they're low.
spent low or spent more, right? So
Mhm.
so interesting. And the looking at the split test is too early to look at the data and make a conclusion about it. There's just not enough traffic across the site.
It's
Um,
only been a couple days, right? Since Thursday. It's
yeah,
Sunday today.
2.5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is that the results look poor,
Mhm.
which is very interesting. Right now it's sitting at about a 25% decrease overall,
Mhm.
which is very interesting to me. Because I don't think that the site is worse. Not like that much worse, right? Um, what I think is happening here is that the Facebook's algorithm has strategically targeted an older audience because the advertisement that I have that has taken up all of the spend is
Mhm.
not compelling enough to convert a younger audience.
Mhm.
And the site that I had or have still on the split, that's the
Right.
baseline site is a very easy, tactical, simple site to navigate.
Mhm.
And so I think that there's some discrepancy due to that potentially. I have no data, no proof about this, right? I think there's the potential there. What's also interesting to me is I stopped for Noble Tea at Noble Tea for some coffee. Said hi to Joel during one of the days, and there was a woman there from Michigan.
Mhm.
And they were just visiting. Sat down next to me. Older woman, like 50s, 60s. And she was, chatting and whatever, and, we were talking, she was asking me what I do, and I was like, "Oh, like, I, have my own business, blah, blah, whatever." Gave her the spiel, and I pulled up the new site for her, and she was looking through the site. It was very interesting to watch someone else navigate the site.
Mhm.
I like watching other people navigate the site 'cause, um,
You're
she
so
never
familiar with.
scrolled down really much past the fold. Like, the fold is in,
Yeah.
like, the first page you see,
Right.
right? And also only really swiped, like, 3 or 4 photos in.
Mhm.
Right? And so I was looking at that and I was like, okay, like that's interesting to know. And so there was a couple factors that came to mind if this split test doesn't work well. One is that I think the variant selector, although aesthetically pleasing, is complicated for a older audience in terms of like you pick the circle and then you hit the quantity and you add to cart. I think the very simple breakdown of like 1 gramophone, what color do you want? Add.
Right.
Do you want 2 gramophones? What 2 colors do you want? Add, right?
Mhm.
It's like very, very intuitive. It's ugly, but it's intuitive. I think that's one factor. Another factor is that I noticed this on the new site. When you pull up the new site on the product page, you get product images, and then you get like a variant and quantity selector, and then you get a buy, and then below that you start to get the name of the product.
Mhm.
And so it feels a little bit. My goal was to get the variant and quantity selector above the fold, which I did successfully.
Right.
But the problem is that now the information that makes it feel like a product page is too low,
And people aren't scrolling down that far.
and they may not be scrolling down that far, or it just doesn't.
Pop out.
It doesn't. Maybe it just doesn't feel like a true product page. Because on mobile, it's very easy to just like look at it and be like, "Oh, this is kind of weird." Like I feel like I'm just being sold on something immediately, rather than like given at least like a title or a little bit of information or
Mm.
like like it doesn't feel as much like an accessible page on mobile. On desktop it feels different because it's horizontal, they're side by side, but on mobile it doesn't. And so that was interesting to me. And then another thing that was really interesting to me too is I think that a big plus of the new website is the video.
Mhm.
I don't know, you see that on the product page
I
video
saw
down there,
yeah.
yeah. And so that video I think is cool. I think it's cool having that there. It's like an explainer video.
Yeah.
um It's below the fold, and what I would like to do if this split test doesn't go well is move it into the first product picture. Move it into that video, take it and put it in the first product picture
Right.
on the top of the site. and then take the 4 gramophone images and compress them into one, and then stack them like that, and then have images for the variant selector, like, filter in on the back end, right? But that because that could allow me to pull all the other images forward. And now if they're only scrolling 3 or 4 images, at least there's some value that's gained other than, like, different colored gramophones, right? Because that's all she saw. And
Right.
in my head, I was like, "Well, there's
Can I
other
pause
photos,"
you
but,
and show you something that,
yeah.
as you're speaking, this is coming to mind? Are you familiar with the company Anduril?
Anduril?
Andruil.
I don't know.
They're a defense company that is getting a lot of publicity right now, because the guy who owns the company just went on Joe Rogan.
Mm,
And, he's like a super techie, super eccentric billionaire guy who, like, builds cool shit, right?
mhm.
Um, and this is the guy. He wears flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt. This is the perfect photo to tell you exactly everything you need to know about him, right? What he's standing next to is basically, it's a missile that will go loiter in enemy airspace and then blow shit up if you tell it to, and if not, it comes home and then lands like the SpaceX rockets. So it's a recoverable ammunition. It's the equivalent of America going like this to bad guys, and then if you don't wanna blow them up, they go like this. That's basically what this is, right?
That's
Um,
wild.
so he just went on Joe Rogan and he shared, um, the helmet with Joe Rogan. So the helmet that he has is fucking super sick. It's a new military helmet. So this is what you're used to for night vision goggles,
Yeah.
right? Big chunky thing on the front of your helmet that pulls your neck down, it bumps on shit, right? This is the helmet that they just designed and came out with. It's a way more compact helmet that's way lighter weight. And then what you look through, do you remember the Meta glasses that I showed you a
Yeah.
few weeks ago? It's like a steel frame version of those sunglasses with augmented reality on them. So your helmet with all these infrared cameras on it speaks to a drone that's in the air that is communicating to all your buddies' helmets too. So if you and I each have helmets on, right?
Yeah.
And there's a drone in the air, and then I run to my apartment complex, everyone I see and everything I see on the way, the drone sees, and then will show you in X-ray vision.
Wow.
So you can now effectively see through walls, right?
It's like a video game.
It is just like a video game. Let me pull up the video for you.
Yeah, when you're, like, in, Assassin's Creed. Hey, do you ever
Dude,
play Assassin's Creed and
I'm
you
about
had, like,
I'm
the
gonna blow your mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna blow your mind.
Sounds like that.
This is exactly what it is. You fucking nailed it.
Yeah, yeah.
God, I wish this would load quicker. That's exactly what it looks like. The real onboard footage of using these helmets is exactly what that's like, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Super cool shit. I'll wait for this to pull up in a second. So I was showing this to Justin. It's funny because my buddy from high school, shout out to Sebastian, he enlisted in the Marines and then went and served in Hawaii, and now he's out of the service and he works for Anduril in
Mm.
Georgia. So he's working on those loitering munitions. So this is the view, super low res because my iPad is or my computer sucks. But so you see this guy, right? This is through the augmented reality sunglasses. You're in thermal vision. He walks behind that crate, right?
Yeah.
God damn it! I wish this. Come on, give me 1080. Maybe it'll work better in smaller screen. But it's exactly what you're saying. It's you can see his outline through the storage container as if you have X-ray vision. That's exactly what this is, right? Um, but
We killed
God
the
damn it, dude.
Wi-Fi. It's
Huh?
it
It's
was killed the
horrific, dude.
Wi-Fi.
Well, I'm on my hotspot, but it's just all the fucking. I wonder if my phone will load it faster. Actually, will it fuck up my audio recording if I do it on my phone?
Don't ask me, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's better.
That's
I spoke too soon.
But what's the point?
The point is well, the point is this is sick. But the reason for me bringing it up is I showed Justin this yesterday when he was helping me with his stuff,
Mm.
and the way that their website is set up is super similar, I think, to what you're saying. Where
Oh.
when you go to, for example, let's do Bolt, right? When you go to their air defense system Bolt and you pull up their product, the very first thing that pops up is a video of their product in a really cool.
Yeah, in, like, a landing page format, like, it's, like,
Yes.
full screen.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, yeah,
video of
yeah, yeah.
exactly what it does.
Yeah.
Hello? Is nothing loading? God, I hate it here.
It's raining too. maybe the Wi-Fi. Maybe your
This
hotspot
is
is worse because the rain.
this is my
The
phone.
rain.
Air Systems, Bolt. Hello. I'm gonna have a fit, mate.
I've
This
seen landing pages like that though. They have a big video that's like fading in on the background and stuff. You can send me the link later.
now.
You send me the link later. It's okay.
It's exactly what you're talking about, and it's stuff that blows up. All right. Okay.
Well, we can
Go on.
let it load.
It'll never
Let it
load.
load.
It'll never load. It's
We'll,
okay.
we'll
You get the
keep
idea.
going, and if it loads, you can interrupt me.
When you pull it up, the product video comes up. It's
Yeah.
the first thing, which is interesting with this defense stuff because instead of showing you a static photo and then you make assumptions about it, it just shows you immediately what it's doing in the video.
Yeah.
And then you scroll down below the video, and that's where all the product information is, right? So they show you what it does first and sets the precedent, and then you move from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm closing these windows out. I'm sick of this. I'll send you the full videos.
There you go. No worries.
But this billion-dollar defense company is doing exactly what you were talking about. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
direction.
it's I think those are a couple things that I noticed and noted.
Yeah.
Obviously it's too early to tell, right? There are about, I don't know, 40 orders across the split test at this point, so it's picking up. It's moving quickly, right?
It's only been a few days.
Yeah, it's only been 2.5 days, 3 days. So, stuff is moving quickly. I should know within a couple weeks, whether it's at least better or worse, generally speaking. But yeah, those were a couple things that I thought about, because it did surprise me to see it not performing as well as I thought it would.
So your old ads are sending half the people to the old website and the new rebranded website, and then the
Correct.
new ads are doing the same thing.
So the new ads, this gets my second point. I'm sorry, yes, the new ads she created.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
deal.
the exact same deal.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And those new ads are not getting much spend, right? Because they're in that main row.
But then again, none of your ads are getting much spend compared to the winning ad.
Correct. So this
Right.
gets me to the next kind of like 2 points. Is, in addition to the product video thing we talked about, the add to cart functionality with the variant picker, right, might be a little bit young person friendly rather than older person friendly, right?
Right.
Product video above the fold, condensing the pictures down so that people actually see what's offered there. And then one other thing I thought of was pulling the reviews up or having like a review banner, right? Underneath some product, just so it's a little bit closer to the top of the fold. And so that's all stuff that I thought of when I was looking at this test and looking at the performance data. And the other thing I thought of too was I'm interested to see what happens when I take her advertisements and run them to the split test at $100 a day. And then I was also curious because I don't think it will, I don't think spend will pick up that much. I don't think it's going to outtake the winner in the next 5 days, right?
Not in the same campaign.
Not in the same campaign. I highly doubt it, right? And so I'm curious to see how do those ads perform in the split test environment, and then how do they perform when only direct, implying that they don't completely tank when I run them separately. How do they run when I only run them to the rebranded website? So that kind of like connecting that customer journey, right? Those two things I'm very interested to see. The other thing I'm really interested to see is that I know I've been talking about this for weeks. I'm launching the UGC content test campaign on Monday.
Okay.
I sat down to schedule content at 8 p.m. last night. I was doing other stuff before that, but I sat down specifically to do the content scheduling at 8 p.m. I did not finish, but gave up at 7 a.m.
So why'd you give up? Because you're tired?
I'm just tired. I mean, I need to sleep. I mean, I wouldn't have done anything today if I didn't sleep at all. Yeah, it's like I got to get some rest, right? I still feel like shit today, but at least I can function. I had a few all-nighters recently, and it tanks me at like 5 or 6 p.m.
Got it. But you were like, there was still so much scheduling left to do that it was
Sort of. So at the moment, I have 116 advertisements to put out, which is less than I initially anticipated to put out. The reason I'm doing so
But it's a lot to schedule.
It is a lot to schedule, A. So it's not a small amount of ads, right? Especially for one guy in a room trying to fucking crank them out. You know,
Right.
it's not a small amount of ads.
Yeah.
But the reason that I went with just one, essentially, I'm going with 1/3 of the total amount of creators that I have. So I'm testing 9 of the. I was going to test 10, but one of them, I hate the ads so much that they put out. I,
UGC ads?
yeah,
Okay.
the ad they made. I really despise it because it's the voiceover is AI generated. They clearly didn't spend a lot of time on it. The what they're conveying in the audio doesn't line up to what the video is saying at all, and it's very hard to break up because sometimes there's video audio intermixed with actual audio, and I can't separate them because it's all one big file, right? So it's I was looking at it and I was like, even if this does perform to some extent, I really doubt it's scalable because it makes me want to throw up when I watch it.
Yeah.
And then even at that point, even at the point where let's say it was like my new winner, do I want this advertisement to represent the brand
Yeah.
at all? And I was like, no. Like whatever dumb idiot this ad is going to target that's going to convert some moron I don't want on my site because they're probably going to screw up all my data, right? Because they're going to want like big blog buy
Right.
add to cart, right? It's like no, like I don't want whatever customers this advertisement is going to end up targeting. I don't want them.
I understand that. Yeah.
So I was like, just gonna put this on the side, and it sucks because I made like 10 different variants of it because before I was like, screw it, whatever. I hate everything, whatever, right? But then I was looking back on it, I was like, I can't launch this. This is crap.
Right.
And so 9 creators, 116 advertisements, like 7 different ad copies that I'm using, and then like 10 different headlines that I'm intermixing.
Got it.
So what a different, and like those ad copies, I had to write those ad copies, headlines, using ChatGPT to help me, but you got to tweak and edit and stuff like that, right? On top of making all the ads, on top of figuring out how to post them, right? So this was one other thing of why I'm not launching like 300 or 400 at one time, is that I really can't risk the account getting flagged.
Well, and this is in your test campaign, right?
Yes.
So it's a new campaign that doesn't have anything in it yet.
Right. And it's on an established ad account, but I really don't want to risk getting flagged.
Right.
And so what I did was the reason it partially took so long to schedule was because I'm scheduling in batches of 4 advertisements at a time.
Hmm.
And I build those out in the ad account, and then I publish them, and then I wait for Meta to approve them. And then I go in. And that approval process takes about 5 to 10 minutes per ad.
Right. That way it doesn't get an order for approving 116 ads all at once.
Exactly.
And flags it.
And the reason I did this is I talked to ChatGPT a bunch about how does the Meta flagging system work when it comes to publishing stuff, and how quickly can I publish this stuff, and what kind of risks do I run? And so originally it thought I was trying to publish everything at the same time, and it was like definitely don't do more than 50.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's a problem for me.
Right.
Because I want to be able to do more than that. And I was like, but what if I'm just publishing like a couple at a time, waiting for them to get scheduled and approved, and then doing the next one? And it's like, if you do it that pace, you can do a lot more because Meta counts in batches that you publish. It essentially looks at your account and it goes, okay, how many did they put in queue? And then let's say it looks at it and it says, okay, there's 4 ads in queue. I'm going to schedule those, blah, 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 blah. That's one batch done. And then it goes and it just minds its own business. The Meta
Works for someone else. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. And then when you put another 4 in queue, it goes, okay, great, 4. Brrr, right. Now you can do that. What I did literally like 20 times yesterday, right? And
It's 80 ads.
yeah, 76, yeah. So I guess 19 times. Yeah,
Right.
I did that yesterday, right?
Sure.
Now, if I had done that at the same time, the Meta robot would have come in and gone, whoa, this person just published 76 ads at the same time. What the heck?
Right.
And a lot of them have duplicate ad copy
Right.
because some of them are similar ads, and like some of them are really close variations of the video. This looks sketchy to me.
Right.
Right? Flag. Right? The reason that I did it grouped like this is because it looks at 4 ads, it looks at the ad copy, it says, yeah, this test makes sense, and then it goes to mind its own business, and it assesses the next batch on a completely new slate.
Right.
And each time it schedules, it builds confidence in your ad account, right? And so actually, as I went on, my schedule times got faster.
Oh, good.
Like, it would be, like, 3 minutes. So it's like schedule.
Can you do slightly
Yes.
larger batches, like batch of 5 instead of batch of 4 as it builds confidence?
You can, I I didn't,
Didn't want
change
to.
anything
Yeah.
about what I was doing.
If you got to the point where you have done this a few times and then you wanted to do a test campaign of like 500 ads, then it would be worth considering going up. But I guess next
Yeah.
it's like it's working for you. You haven't been flagged yet. Just stick with what works so you can actually run the test.
Yeah, yeah. And so I scheduled 76 of them last night, and then tonight I'll schedule the remaining 40
Yeah.
that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna I'm giving it some breathing room too, right? Scheduling and then let it breathe and then schedule, right?
So
Um,
is this test campaign, it's a brand new campaign with just the UGC content?
Completely brand new campaign,
Yeah.
zero history on the campaign. Advertisements are completely brand new, create ad, like new, no engagement on anything.
Yeah.
All have similar variants of the ad copy that are catered to the specific niche or angle that that advertisement is conveying, as well as headlines that are catered to that specific advertisement.
Got
But nothing is like a one sentence ad copy versus a 5 paragraph ad copy. Like they're all 2 to 4 paragraph ad copies, kind of
comparable.
catered to the specific niche of the ad.
Got it.
So very, very similar style, all under broad spending. Um,
And your current winning ad is not in that bunch.
No, not at all.
Cool.
It's a $200 separate campaign, and I've also worked with ChatGPT to enhance um the definition of the UTM tracking
Okay, so
for that new campaign. So all those new advertisements have a new UTM that is higher definition and will hopefully reduce attribution data issues.
yeah,
So this is like new, right?
I'm excited to
Um,
see how that does because I have
yes,
I have about as much skepticism in your current winning ad as one can have,
yeah,
and the current campaign. So
it's very odd. Yeah,
yeah, well, my hunch is that Facebook is going to prioritize that no matter what, and so you have to start a new campaign and build up the data from the ground up from there if you want a different ad to do better, and I think there is room to improve. I think that your current ads are so much better that they'll perform better, A, and then B, I think they'll convert better because the news site is so much better.
yeah. I mean, so this is
I think
the other
your
point that I
improvements are
have.
I think your improvements are valid. I think it's Facebook that is hampering getting people to your improvements because it's only showing them that first
Well, it's
shitty winning
been
ad.
right. Well, it's also this is something else I thought about. So, like you mentioned, I'm very interested to see how the new creator advertisements that I put out. These are all creator generated ads that I've done iterations of, right?
Right.
Um, how these new ads perform when inputted it into this split test. Very interested to see that.
Yeah.
Versus how the split test is currently going. That's a
Right.
very interesting point, right? And I can track that. I have a way that I can track that. So it's a little bit rough, but it can be done. Not rough from a data perspective, rough from a it's just complex. Um, but the other thing I'm really interested so the other thing that you mentioned, which is a great point, is that Meta has optimized around the singular winning ad for an older audience for the past
Year.
yeah, 8 months, 8, 9 months,
February, yeah.
right? And so in turn, it is optimized based on purchases which have converted on a website that has stayed stagnant for almost that entire period of time.
Right.
And so it's learned who purchases, who engages with that advertisement, but most importantly, who purchases from the website that I've had and what kind of person purchases from that website. Right. So that's really interesting as well. Um, because I think there's potential to, or there's some evidence to suggest that the split test may not be doing well because the not only has the audience been optimized for an older audience, and maybe some of the conversion things that I talked about are confusing for an older audience, like the variant picker, the quantity selector, the video, the right, but also Meta has optimized for the specific site that I've been using too,
Right.
right, and finding customers that
Have a higher
work well with a a very simple basic site,
right.
right? And someone who's wants a little bit more like cutesy, catchy, nichey thing,
Right.
they're not going to click on the ad that I initially put out, right? Because the ad, like, it's not going to convert those people, even though the site may convert those people,
Right.
right? And so Meta's not going to push the ad to those people, even though the site's more catered to it, because Meta doesn't really know what's going on the back end. And even if Meta did, this is another thing I thought of this week. I was like, why does Meta put such a stronghold on the current winners? Like, or at least from what I've seen, like it has such a huge resistance to spending on other ads. And I was thinking, and I was like, well, most people put out, most like service-based businesses will put out like 3 or 5, like from what I've heard on Hermosi Hotline, will put out 3 to 5 advertisements. We'll let those run for 3, 6 months. And then when they sort of converting, kind of not, they maybe put out a few more,
Right.
right? And so if that's the kind, and generally speaking, when I've talked to other people about paid advertising, and even people who are in e-commerce talking to them about paid advertising, like they don't do a super high volume of testing from my perspective, a high volume of from like listening to Hermosi high volume,
Right.
right? And so a majority of people on the platform kind of use the platform passively and bank on
Yeah.
these few little ads working through Meta's algorithm and audience segmentation,
Right.
right? And I go, and I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, because like it doesn't know the difference. Like Meta is not optimized for the big player,
Right.
right? Like the big player with all of the customization
Right.
features, right? It's optimized for like general Joe Schmo that wants to get into paid ads and doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, if you look at what the product that Facebook Meta is delivering, it's if you pay me money, I will show your ad to enough people to make you money. And it's not really concerned, or at least my hypothesis is it's not really concerned with how much extra money it makes you, right?
Yeah, well, so I think generally speaking, it's actually more profitable. So I didn't finish. I forgot my point, but I think it's generally speaking, Facebook has seen it as more profitable in order to have a stronghold on a singular and winning advertisement
Mhm.
than it is to jump around because it has learned from other people only running a couple ads at a time from long extended periods of time. And
Right.
in that, it has learned to squeeze everything it can out of those ads because traditionally people don't put out a batch of 116 ads,
Right.
right? There are many, many people who do, but like I think that traditionally speaking, like and also the way that Meta runs probably changes as you increase spend too, right? Like if you're spending 10K or 100K a day, I'm sure that your spend allocation is of a different flavor than someone who spends 100 or $1,000 a day,
Right.
right? And so there's differences in that respect too. And so these are all interesting things. But by and large, I'm launching that creator campaign. I'm not doing all 300 because I don't want to flag the account. I don't want to have an issue. And I feel as though I feel strongly that even with 9 creators,
Mhm.
that's still a lot of that's still a good number of people making a variety of different content that I'm then mixing up in different ways with different targets and then with different ad copies that target different audiences. Like there's a lot of different combinations in there for Meta to filter through,
Right.
right? I feel strongly that it can at least convert somewhat.
So are all of these new 116 ads going to the split test or just the new brand?
Going all to the split test right now.
Got it. Okay.
Everything to the split test. And um I will track where the conversions happen. So if the new ads, the creator generated advertisers that I'm running in the separate test campaign that's brand new, if they convert much better on the rebranded site than they do on the old site,
Right.
then I know that there's something there, right? And I can track that aspect of it,
Okay.
right? And so that will be something I'm very interested in. And I'll track the same thing for when I put the branding person's advertisements in a separate campaign as well at $100 a day. And if they still don't convert well, or the conversion is only on the rebranded site, what I'll do is um, I'll set up essentially like a landing page style, like you were saying, where it's like they see a certain page from a certain ad, right? When you click that link, you see a certain page, right? Or if they run advertisements, they'll have a landing page like that, right?
Right.
And you'll land on that page. So I'll run a landing page style for specific rebranded advertisements to the new site if I see that the new site converts better from the new advertisements, whether they're the rebranded person's advertisements or the creator generated ones,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so these are like a few things going on in my mind that are interesting for me to see. I'm very excited to see how the creator advertisements do.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that my account, please knock on wood, hasn't had any issues yet with publishing and all that stuff. Everything got
Right.
scheduled
Right.
last
Right.
night.
Right.
Knock on wood. Don't want that issue,
Yeah.
right?
So, okay,
But
I have 2 questions.
yeah,
The first one should be easy. When you set up the new Pixel backup data account, does that start collecting data as of when you set it up, or does it backfill all the data that the
it
current
does not
Pixel has?
backfill.
Okay, got it. So you've got 1 Pixel with a long history and 1 Pixel with a short history that just started from yesterday, but
Correct.
hopefully it'll build enough that if you do lose it in a month or 2, it's still got a solid
At least it has something.
it's a solid backup, right? Well, and on a long enough time horizon, 8 months isn't gonna matter anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like an 8-month delta between the 2 pixels. The second one is my I find myself consistently taking a route of skepticism when it comes to Facebook Meta's reasoning, right? And so when considering a new batch of advertisements on and this is a question, not an attack. I wanna know if
Oh,
you
yeah.
understand how Meta works, right? Huh?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So when I'm considering taking a big new batch of ads,
Mhm.
all different variants, all different flavors and colors, no current winning ad to fuck with that data because I have full confidence that if you put that in your current campaign, they'd all die to your current
Yeah,
winning ad. So
absolutely. Because I've done stuff like that before and they
exactly,
go by.
right? I'm super stoked to see how this new batch does because I'm sure that with the progress that you have made, the worst ad in that batch is better than your current winning ad. So I'm really stoked to see or has the
Yeah.
potential to be better than your
Yeah,
current.
well, the thing is that actually these aren't 100% my ads because they were creator generated and then I remixed them,
But you
right? But they
mixed
are yes, I remixed them, and there are some in there that I'm like, "I don't really love this, but this creator really liked it,
right,
and so I'll run it, right, and remix it," right?
right.
And there are some in there that I'm like, of that are of different like, I was looking at one yesterday, and it was just of it's a silent ad with a story, and it's like, a kid, like, going to bed with the gramophone.
Right.
It's a very, very simple ad. And I was watching, and I was like, "This is n" like, I was looking at it, I was like, "This is really cool because it's very different from any ad I've ever run. It's of a different flavor and style of other advertisements in this campaign. It gives Meta variety to sift through, and also, this is a nice ad just for an aware audience that maybe needs like a little extra push, right? And so there's different stages of awareness within this big campaign too. So what a cool stuff that I'm excited about. And I think you're right in the sense that there is at least some quality in 116 advertisements that can convert someone,
Yeah,
right?
and my
Like,
hunch is that that has better growth capacity than your current winning ad. So I'm super stoked to see how they all do. My question comes in with the split test, right? If you have someone watch if you have 10 people watch one ad, all of them click on the ad to go to the website, right? Is it a perfect 50-50 split on which A/B test they go to?
yes.
Okay. And does it happen okay, I get one person, I send them to site A. The next person I get, I send to site B, and then A, and then A. Like it goes
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah. A B
Okay.
A B A B.
So then Facebook won't get because it seems to make judgments pretty quickly, right? So my concern is you might get a really good ad, like the best ad in that whole bunch. And the first person that they get, they send to the site that converts worse. And so then Facebook strikes that ad and says, you will not be the winning ad. So you might muddy the waters and miss out on your winning ad because Facebook is biased on the very first person that goes to the site that doesn't convert as well.
Yeah. So I don't know for sure. What I'm hoping is that at so I'm going to have 9 ad sets and at $200 a day, which allocates around, well, what is it, $22 per ad set. Like
Mhm.
if Facebook were to spend evenly $22 per ad set.
Uh,
So even on my biggest ad sets, that's $1 an ad, which should approximately that Facebook has availability to spend, right?
mhm.
And at $1 an ad, you're gonna get about like you'll get at least 20 clicks,
Okay.
right? And so there's a fair amount of data in there, right? That's one thing. But I thought you were actually going a different direction with the split test thing because this is something that I thought of was what I saw in my last split test was the changes I made actually performed better for a while and then they kind of petered out and then like it was kind of 50-50 and it almost showed it like wasn't quite even better,
Hmm.
right? And so I was wondering
This was the split test with your like bonus.
the legacy
Right?
bundle,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Got
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, Facebook algorithm does look at the website that you launch ads to. It
it. Okay.
will look at that. And I'm real I don't know the answer to this. I'm really curious as to how it caters traffic based on the website that it's looking at, right? Because Because what if Facebook knows you're running a 50-50 split test? What if it's looking at the website each time it's seeing conversion, it's seeing very consistent A, B, A, B, A, B, right?
Right.
And it looks at that and it goes, well, A is tested and B is untested. I'm
That
going to
also
send better traffic to A than I will to B.
you're still doing 50-50, but it's
The quality of the
quality
traffic coming in may be
quality of
different,
traffic, yeah.
right? If Meta is looking at both sites and is really just trying to lock down your current target, right?
So in a
It's an interesting thing to
it is an
think about.
interesting thought.
Yeah.
In a new campaign, will it have that data? Because it's in the same ad account.
It will use the pixel, but from what I understand, the pixel does not have a bearing on what the campaign optimizes around. It does provide data on past purchases, right? So there is a factor there, but from what I've understood, at least from all the research that I've done, the campaign, when it started fresh with fresh advertisements and fresh ad sets without any history in that specific campaign, the pixel can prove useful to information about customers, but will not have a bearing around how it optimizes.
So it should be
That's
fair.
what I've understood,
Okay.
right? But something, one thing that I'm kind of starting to do a little bit more and more is like m- make assessments around these things and like see it a little bit for myself. um and so I want to see how this campaign pans out before I make any claims one way or another about it. But
Right.
from what I understood, the pixel shouldn't have a bearing on the performance, right? It should only help.
Cool.
Should only help.
Cool.
um but in terms of that stuff, um currently relatively on schedule for the outline that I put out last week in terms of like late October and preparing in early November
Sweet.
with partnered advertisers. Obviously it's a tight schedule. It's a lot of work, but
But you're on schedule.
relatively speaking,
There's
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
2 full weeks with no slip, which is awesome. No, genuinely, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Because like, if you say you set this really aggressive schedule, I mean, how many weeks are there to the end of the year? 10?
Yeah. It's
Less,
not a lot. Yeah.
maybe 9, right? From here to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so 2 out of 10 or 11 is, I mean, a significant percentage. So if after the first week or 2, you had, like, 3 or 4 days of slip, then you're like, "Oh, fuck." On a long timeline, I'm, like, 2 weeks behind to the end of the quarter, which is a
Yeah.
huge chunk.
Yeah.
So the fact that you got through your first 2 weeks of an aggressive schedule without a bunch of slip is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. The branding slipped a lot. But I've doubled down on what the most important things are, and I'm just working as hard as I possibly can. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing I can do. So one of the kind of lessons learned I had in the rebranding, and part of the reason why I say like I just need to assess things for myself is that um I I can look at I'm trying to put a few more eggs in my ability to assess situations, and also kind of ability to look at stuff and go, you know what, that's actually good enough. Because I think one of the mistakes I made was I tried to let the rebranding person run with it, right? And I think it turned out really, really well. But at the end of the day, I should have stuck with what my gut was telling me was like, let's get it good. Let's get it very, very solid. The last week was like such minor tweaks that no one's even gonna notice or see.
Hmm.
Like very, very minor stuff. And I was like, at a certain point, it just has to be good enough to at least test to see if the idea works.
I can see an argument in both directions.
I can see an argument in both directions too. I could, but um, seeing how right now the data coming in is showing that it converts 25% worse, that is something I would have liked to know a week ago.
But if you did know this a week ago, you would have questioned whether that additional, like, 2% would have been the difference maker.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think that the the point kind of comes down to I think it's just going to be reps for me in terms of like going through this process and learning and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. And um, Hermosi's always been consistently beneficial in terms of advice that he's given me, and so listening to what he has to say as well.
Yeah.
Um,
But you want those reps to be quality reps.
yeah,
You don't wanna half-ass it.
no, no,
Let's play
if I can help it.
let's play a hypothetical out, right? In one scenario, you spend 2 weeks developing the perfect website and then 1 week testing, and at
Yeah,
the end of that 3-week cycle, it's doing 25% worse. And the other one, You spend a week doing it, and then you do a week of testing, and you're not happy with it. So then you spend another week redeveloping the site, and then you spend another week testing to the same outcome. One is a 3-week cycle, one is a 4-week cycle. They have the same outcome, right?
Yeah.
But since you put in the max effort on the front end of one of them, you saved a week of redevelopment and going back and retesting. So I think it's
Yeah.
probably situational, right? And I'm not as close to it as you are, so you have a better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure, for sure.
I think that your original I think that I associate more with your original assessment of I'm gonna do all of the micro details, and then if it doesn't work, at least I'll know.
Yeah, yeah. I yes, I see both sides of the coin. It might be me just sitting here and thinking like, "Oh, I wish this, I wish that," like, the stupid, like, "I regret blah, blah, blah," right? That could totally be me. I see that in myself, the potential there, right?
I'm
I'm
also
not
not
sure.
I'm also not convinced that it is
Yeah.
converting 25% worse.
No, I'm not. It's all preliminary data, right?
Right,
For
right.
sure.
I have faith that that site will convert better with the proper ads and the
I
proper
think it should. I think
direction.
it should.
Right, so
Uh,
I wouldn't get discouraged this early on.
yeah, yeah. It's just no, no, no. I'm not discouraged. This was a very, very interesting week. I have something else I haven't mentioned yet. It was a very interesting. I'm saving it for
Did
this
you win a
week.
lottery?
No, I did not. Fuck.
Dude, one of us
I
was
so far away today.
Gee, could you imagine if one of these days one of us was just like, "Dude, we've got like 40 billion. What do we do?"
Oh man, that'd be fun. But yeah, it's so good update. Solid plan coming in for this week. A lot of different testing going on, a lot of different frameworks to work through, different ideas to try out, different stuff to work with. And overall, regardless of how the rebranding goes, I am very happy that uh, the rebranding has been complete, and I'm very satisfied with it. At least I am personally satisfied with the site, regardless of whether it converts or not.
Right.
Despite the site, I'm satisfied with or very happy with several things, like the complete product videos
Mhm.
that are on YouTube, um, new product pictures or a different flavor of product pictures, as well as different advertisements to test. At
Right.
minimum, those things I'm very happy with. So, and I'm very happy with the site personally. I just want to find a way to learn from it or see it convert in some way, right? So that's a different ball game for me to play,
Yeah.
right? Um, but that is overall my strictly business update for this week.
Sweet.
What do you have for your business update?
A lot less. I had to think of some stuff to talk about actually, because most of what I did was the same task over and over again. But I'll start with an improvement. So Justin works 2 floors above me. He works on a team that is very like it's cyclical in that they'll get data will come in, and then they have X number of time to crunch that data, analyze it, and then spit out a report. Sometimes the turnaround time is 2 days and they have to work like crazy. Sometimes their turnaround time is like 2 weeks and they have time. Sometimes the data isn't coming in and they're just waiting, right? So usually when I go up to bother Justin, he and his whole team are like, "Hey, we have a lot of shit to do. Don't bother us." And then I'm like, "Okay, I'll see you later." And sometimes it's like more easygoing. Usually when I go up, I sit at Justin's test and we kind of like, or I sit at Justin's desk and we like shoot the shit about day trading or whatever. And he'll like pull up the stock tickers and show me where he wanted to buy and where he didn't sell or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and usually the pattern that we have is that Justin is trying to figure out how he can get better at day trading. I'm trying to convince him to put it all on black. And then his coworker, who's like in his 40s or 50s, comes over and laughs at both of us, right?
Yeah,
That's the dynamic. So I have been like the angel of chaos in that little zeitgeist. Like
yeah.
this coworker does not know me well enough to know my work ethic. He kind of thinks I'm just a shit, right? Which is fine because that's how I present myself at Justin's desk amongst friends, right? So
I have one small interruption.
yeah, sure.
Have you seen the meme? It's like a blue collar meme where it's these two cartoon characters sitting around a fire,
Uh,
and they're talking about like they work as plumbers or construction guys.
mhm,
Um, and one of them is like working 70 hours a week to try and afford a wife and kids,
uh,
right? And it's this like kind of more serious looking cartoon character, and the other cartoon character is like this like butthead looking guy, and it's got like all the memes. There's different varieties of them, but it's all like pictures of like project cars and energy drinks
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
different zins or like syrups or whatever.
No kids.
And it's like no kids, and then just like that in his like little dream bubble.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like such a funny comparison. It's like, the 40-year-old versus like the 18-year-old in construction. It's like,
Yeah.
what are the different goals?
Yeah,
It's
that's exactly
very
what
funny.
this is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Justin has reasonable goals, but like illustrious desires, and I am here to feed those desires. So I'm at his desk, like, dude, he found a he found a trigger for an MP5, which is like a rifle,
Mhm.
but it's an auto reset trigger. So you pull the trigger and it immediately like pushes it back out. Like the
Oh,
handle on a gas pump, right? You know how
yeah,
it forces itself back out, right? But with this trigger, if you just squeeze it and hold it down, it auto resets, right? So it
yeah,
pushes back out, but you're still squeezing it, and then it just goes back again. So it's basically a fully automatic machine gun, but
yeah.
technically the trigger moves, right? And so Justin showed me this and he was like, wouldn't this be cool to get? And I'm like, it's only $200, dude, buy it. And he's like, well, the gun is like 2 grand. And I'm like, dude, buy the $200 thing first and then force yourself to get so this is how our conversations go, right? Just shitheadery.
Yeah.
This past week I'm up there, I'm talking to Justin about actual work stuff, and then his coworker who laughs at us usually comes over, and then Justin goes, "Oh, hey, my coworker, this guy is a veteran, and I told him about the VA loan stuff that you learned the other week." And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome. Like, when are you looking to buy?" And he knows that I'm an agent and he knows that I'm a shithead. So I have sensed in previous conversations, has not wanted to talk about the topic a whole lot because he knows that I'm a shithead and he doesn't want to feel the pressure of having to work with me, right? And so I knew I had an opportunity here to impress because my current special interest is VA loans that I know a lot about, and I'm not a pressure focused salesman, right? And so I was like, oh, I just struck up conversation with him about like, oh, Justin told you about these fees. Did you know about these other fees and how they pass them off to the seller? And he's like, oh yeah, I had heard about that. And I was like, yeah, I actually just had a client from West Virginia that was looking down here and we had these issues. And he was like, oh yeah, I totally understand it because it can take longer to get financing. And I was like, it's funny, people have said that, but my lender has gotten people approved in 10 days. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, conventional loans take like 30, maybe a little longer, depending on the lender. But my lender gets VA loans done in 10 days. He was like, that's fast. And I was like, I know. And so then we like started talking and I was able to talk about a subject which I know a lot about and am passionate about.
Yeah.
And so then I told him about my affiliate partnership deal and I watched it happen in his eyes where he realized that I'm not an idiot. I just act like an idiot around Justin when we're just
Hate my
hanging out.
job.
Yeah. But he was I could tell he was hit with like oh fuck, this guy actually knows a lot more about this world than I do. This is crazy. Um and it was a kind of a fun realization to watch happen because I know that this is what I do
Right.
all the time outside of work. And then I also know how I act when I'm around Justin. And so it was funny to watch him have that realization. But he was like, yeah, my friend gave me a guest link to his MLS so I can watch specific properties and try to figure out, what they're listed for versus what they sold for. And I was like, oh, are you looking into particular properties? And he was like, I kind of just want to get an understanding for like what houses are selling for. And I was like, actually, I don't know if your buddy knows how to do this, but I know how to do this. You can pull up the original list to sale ratio or the under contract to sale ratio to see what people got off when you go under contract. So, you know, how much are people negotiating once you
Right.
go under contract for the whole city or the whole county or a specific like neighborhood. Like you can configure all that stuff to get those ratios. And then we can pull it up for specific houses that have recently sold. Um, Ask him about that. And if he can't do it, let me know and I'll pull the data for you. And he was like, whoa, okay, cool. So like now I know that his buddy's an agent and doesn't know how to run the MLS like I do.
Yeah.
And then also clearly his agent doesn't know about the VA loan stuff that I do. Otherwise he would have told this coworker and he would know already.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was a really awesome conversation and I'm very happy with how it went. Um, and I'm kind of gauging where I'm at in the real estate industry off of conversations that I have with people, which is weird because I'm used to gauging my performance off of like math, right? In
Mhm.
engineering, it's like,
Yeah.
does it work or does it not? And so it's an interesting shift for me to gauge my performance on conversation, but this was a really strong indicator. We also did our 21st open house in a row this week. It
Yep.
was
I saw the post on Instagram. I was
yeah.
asleep. I had a very interesting lesson learned Friday night, and
Oh
so
yeah.
I actually ended up coming home very, very late, and so I got up at like noon.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I
That's his
slept
own.
quite a bit though. I slept from like 4 until or 3 until noon, so I slept like 9 hours.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, open house 21. Um, we actually had to reschedule it last second because we picked an open house on Monday, confirmed it on Tuesday, made a post to post on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the listing agent said, "Hey, I just went under contract, so no need for an
Oh,
open
wow.
house."
Cool.
And so I was like, "Fuck," because finding an open house, like a good open house, last second is a bummer. You don't have any time to advertise it. A lot of people have to talk to the sellers before scheduling the open house, even if it's vacant, no one lives
Mhm.
there, you still have to get it approved. And then sometimes people just don't want to deal with it, right? And so finding one on a Friday for a Saturday is really challenging. But I found one and I made it work. It wasn't my top choice, but it was still okay. This is actually a townhouse that I did an open house for 2 or 3 weeks ago on a
Mm.
rainy day, and I only had one person come through for
I remember
4 hours.
that, yeah.
This time, we did it on a sunny day in the middle of the day on a Saturday, and we had, like, 8 or 9 groups come out. It was, like, one of the busiest open houses we've ever had,
Wow.
and every conversation, I was at the same level of after the conversation, I was like, "Wow, I crushed that." Same as with
That's
Justin's
very
coworker,
awesome.
every conversation, yeah. So that was a really good turnout, I'm really happy with how that went.
Awesome.
We're also
Cool.
changing up our usually we would print out an MLS sheet or like a description of the house to bring to the open house. That's conventional. That's what most agents do. What Grace and I have changed to doing is we pull it up on her iPad, and when people have questions, we come show that to on the iPad, and then we offer to email it to them. So then we get their email.
Yeah.
So we did that with a couple people this last time too. Um, there was also someone who had a question about the HOA because they wanted to do modifications in the backyard, but they weren't sure if it was going to fly with the HOA. So while they were upstairs touring the house, we got the phone number for the president of the HOA and then wrote it. This is a great idea. Grace wrote that number on her business card and then gave it to this dude. So it's a way to get our information in their pocket while also giving additional
Mm.
info with the HOA. Um, but that was super cool. So that
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah, that's the smaller chunk of my business update. All of that went really well. Uh,
Very cool.
the bigger chunk of my business update is these affiliate partnerships, right? So last week I showed you all the emails that I sent to people, right? I had this revelation where I was like, oh, if I email everybody, someone's going to reply, right?
Yeah.
So I started off my week by scheduling another 100 emails, and I got a bunch of responses the next day, right? I'm averaging for like every 100 emails, I probably have like a 10% response rate. And then of those responses, some of them are good, some of them are bad. If someone replies to me in one sentence with no punctuation, broken English, I'm not going to recommend those people to my customers, right?
Yeah.
So I have to find a company that I like, then either get on the phone with them or meet in person to make sure that I like what they're doing, and then get the discount.
Yeah.
So with that said, last week I was at like 30% completion and I was targeting 80% today without realizing that it would be difficult. But I'm at 60% right now, which is pretty solid.
That's a double.
It's still
That's
double.
really, really good.
That's double what I had been doing for like a month and a half in 1 week, which is solid.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
that's awesome.
so around Thursday or Friday, I realized at that point I was at like 50%, 52%. And I was like, oh, if I want this to happen faster, I just have to go even bigger. So I reconfigured my Excel sheet to be, as you know how our Excel sheets go, it just
Yeah.
grows and grows, right? So now the difference here is that previously I would have one Google cell row for a specific contractor type.
Mm.
And then I would list out in one column the names of the companies, and then in the next column the status on if I had contacted them.
Yeah.
I broke that down into individual rows with individual emails and individual response rates to track it a little bit easier.
Mhm.
Um, and then I just plowed through adding as many as I could to
Yeah.
reach out to as many as I could. So now the full list is at 224 companies total.
I'll give you a quick tip too.
Yeah.
This is so I went through like a similar flavored process for my organic footage spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You can highlight columns on the side with the numbers
Mhm.
and click and add a filter, and then you can actually collapse.
Yeah.
And so,
You can collapse those or
yeah, that might be, and you can name the call or the rows too. You have to add a row to name them, and you'll figure out the formatting of it. But
yeah.
that collapse function is nice.
Yeah. I'd be
Yeah, that's good.
interested in that. So for example, row 5, plumbing inspector. I already have someone, so I
Mhm.
could collapse this row and then not worry about it
Yeah,
anymore.
or you can even do it by, like, filter, like, let's say you wanna just filter by inspectors,
Right.
like, you can just collapse everything outside of, like,
But
inspectors,
but
right? And then just, like, have your eyes focused on that, right?
yeah.
So
So
it really just helps from a visual perspective, but I don't know if I'm just, like, stupid
no,
or, like, I need it, but
I'm the same way, yeah. Well, that's why I highlighted these rows different colors, just because I was having difficulty
yeah,
figuring out between the 2, right?
yeah.
So for example, for my wood destroying organism inspector, I had reached out to 3 companies. And so the way that this worked last week is that um, I had the revelation of, oh, I just need to reach out to more people. So I asked Grace, can you find me more companies to reach out to? And she said, yeah. And so she was adding like 1 or 2 companies per category. She got through like 6 or 7 of the categories.
Cool.
And then I realized, oh, I should just like 10x this. And so I just took it back from her. I have this terrible habit of asking her to do something. And then I see what she's doing. I get inspired and then I take it over and steamroll. That's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. Self admitted steamroller here. And so then I blasted category type 7 through to 40 or however many there are.
Yeah.
But I forgot to go back and add to category 6 and up, right? So for example, I only reached out to 3 WDO inspectors the other week, and now I have added this many,
Many.
however that is, it's 15,
Yeah.
that I'm going to schedule emails for to go out tomorrow morning, Monday morning.
Awesome.
And so tonight, what I'm going to be doing is adding to all of them. So, currently I have probably like 10 to 20 per category. In any of the categories that I don't have partners with yet or am not in works with yet, I'm going to probably double that number.
Mhm.
Um, I thought that 10 to 15 of the top ones would be good enough, but people just either they don't reply, so they're about to get a second email from me, or they reply and they're not interested. Some people had just called me and then they emailed me back and they said, "Hey, call me." And I intend to do that next week, but at the same time, I also want someone who's capable of emailing, right?
Right.
All that so for reference, every deal that I'm doing, I take a screenshot of the email thread and save in my files because if there's ever an issue with the customer trying to redeem something, I want to have something on paper. So I'm
Yeah.
not cool just making this deal over the phone and then them telling me that they're going to send me shit and they never send me shit, right?
Right.
So it's a balancing act. So I have how many was it? 24 of 40 currently agreed with, and then there's 3 more that we're in discussions for. So I'm not counting any that I don't have an active discount code for.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's a hurricane shutter company that will come out and do a free inspection and free quote for your hurricane shutters, um, which is a big deal if you want a wind mitigation discount on your insurance. So if you have hurricane rated windows or hurricane shutters on all your windows, then you can get X number of dollars less in insurance payments every year, which is a big deal. And so my roofing company will give you, I think I have to double check this. I'm pretty sure my roofing company will come give you a free wind mitigation inspection. So they'll let you know for free if you need hurricane shutters or not. And then my hurricane shutter company will come tell you what that's going to cost. And then you can work out the math on how much money you'll save over the next year in insurance, right?
Yeah.
So the 2 go hand in hand. For example, that hurricane company, they emailed me saying, "Hey, we'd be down to do a discount." And then I replied with, "Hey, cool, what do you want to do for the discount code? And will you send me your logo?" And then they emailed me back with, "Hey, the person you were emailing doesn't work here anymore. I'll help you from here on." And I said, "Cool. Did you see my email above? I need a discount code and your logo." And now I'm waiting for that reply, right? So the discount has already been offered, but I don't have the actual code active yet, so I'm not counting that.
Mm.
So technically, with the 3 that I'm going to close in the next day or 2, that'll put me at 67%. So I'm only 13% short of what my goal was.
Yeah.
But the TLDR here is I just fucking blew up that sheet.
Yeah.
So not only that, but I'm also going to be pursuing duplicates of companies because if one company changes management or something, I need some redundancy in there. But then also, I would like to give my clients opportunities to shop around. So, for example, if one company says they cover all of Brevard, but they can't get up to your neck of the woods in the time frame that you need, maybe I have another company that can service you a little bit faster there too, right? So these aren't exclusive partnerships. Um, so that's the general gist of it. The big one that I got this week was a roofing company. So my lender had told
Yeah, that's the one you sent me the photo of, right?
yeah, they
Yeah.
bought a bunch of cool stuff. My lender had told me Grace had this question, which is if you have someone who is selling their house, but they can't afford to put a new roof on, but the roof needs to be replaced before closing because otherwise the insurance company won't cover it and thus the bank won't give you the funding, what do you do? So, for example, this open house that we've been doing for the past like month and we're not doing it anymore. We just wanted to change the scenery. That owner inherited it from their past family members, right? Doesn't have the money for the mortgage payments, doesn't have the money for a new roof, right? What do you do? And my lender said, well, the answer is you work with my roofing company because they will put the roof on the house and then accept payment at closing upon sale of the house.
Mm,
So no one has to worry about it. The seller pays for it once
yeah,
the seller gets paid,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Or the buyers can finance it, where the roofing company and the buyer write out a contract that they can show the insurance company and say, hey, we promise to get a new roof put on in the first 30, 60, 90 days. The insurance company says, okay. The lender says, okay, you buy the house, right? And I was like, I want to work with that roofing company. Come to find out, they're also a veteran owned and veteran supporting company,
Mhm.
which I believe in personally. They're a local company as well. And so I scheduled to sit down with their sales manager. And so we had a meeting in person and they brought all these like business cards and koozies
Yeah,
and pens and stuff like that, which was really cool. And he was a professional guy. I liked him a lot.
cool.
And so we worked out a deal. They offered me $200 off a gutter installation, a free wind mitigation report with a new roof, and 2 free maintenance services. The maintenance services is interesting because I think he said like year 2 or 3 years, they'll come out and they'll like recaulk stuff and they'll like do a quick once over and inspection thing to make sure everything is still in good shape. And that could be critical if you are buying a house with a new roof today and then you move 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Because 10 to 12 years you're like on the edge of needing a new roof or not. But if you have recorded maintenance services and a consultation or a
Yeah.
what's it called? Well,
Well,
it's they'll come look at the roof and they'll give it a certificate that it's still good.
yeah,
Um,
there's a technical name for it. I'm
they
a little bit
actually
foggy today. I slept like 4 hours.
yeah, I gotcha. They actually he this guy also told me he was like, I have to talk to my boss, the owner of the company, but he thinks he can get me like $100 discount on that recertification thing where it's like, I don't know if my roof is too old. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to look at the roof and then I'm going to write you and say it's okay. And then you show that to your insurance
Mhm.
provider, meaning you don't need a new roof to close. That would be a big deal. So he's still talking to her about that. I'm not really sure how that's going to go.
Cool.
Um, but that's the bulk of it. So this upcoming week, I'm just gonna keep hammering those down. Everyone I've talked to about it, like everyone who I email and say, "Hey, this is my plan," they go, "Wow, that's a really great idea. I haven't seen anybody doing this." I talked to the roofing guy who is like, "Yeah, we try to work with real estate agents all the time, and to mixed results. Right? No one has ever like grabbed it and taken it this far before." And then everyone I talked to Justin about the mobile detailing company. I talked to his coworker about said some of the veteran discounts that my contractors offer. And like everyone who I've talked to about it has been like, yo, let me know when that's not. One of my coworkers needs a pest control company. I just partnered with a pest control company this week that is offering is a pretty good deal if I remember correctly a 10% discount. So I told him, yeah, let me know. And so what I need to figure out, like assuming that I snap my fingers and I have a partner with every one of these companies tomorrow, what I now need to figure out is I'm only going to give this sheet to people who are my clients, right? So you could be a client of mine, even though you live in a duplex right now, but you're not buying a house from me right now. I still want to give you this sheet with all the discounts, but how do I verify that you're my client? And I think the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to give you this sheet today, and you're going to give me your contact information and permission to reach out to you like every quarter or every 6 months or something like that. And anytime you have a real estate question, you come ask me, and then I'll check in on you to make sure that you don't need any help with anything every 6 months. And then when you're ready to buy a house, you work with me, and we can use all these awesome discounts.
Mhm.
I think that's the way that it's going to go. So I'm going to want some type of form or online QR code form or something like that to collect data. So when I hand these sheets out, I exchange the information right then and there. Um,
Yeah, it could be just like a QR code unlock, like they enter their email to unlock it or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. I was just thinking I could print out these sheets with the discounts on it, but I could have Josh build a website where I hand you the sheet with all the discount codes blurred out, and then you scan the QR code, put in your information to sign up as one of my clients, and then you get the discount codes. That's a cool thought too.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't given any thought to the actual system and the way that's going to work yet.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a few different ways to do it. I mean, you could do it even um you could even do it as the names of the different companies without the discount code available, and then your initial before, like, that's the unlock before you go under contract under a place. Like, there's different ways to do it, like, depending on how you want to frame it, whether it's like your initial framing is like, I have this many in each category.
Mm,
And then the unlock is, here are the specific companies I work with. And
mhm,
then once we go into contract, you get the discount code.
mhm.
And you could frame it as like, well, the discount code is only available for a special request or upon contract,
Yeah.
right? And so then you can frame it as like, they get the unlock of seeing all the different companies that you have partnerships with, and you can do it as they only get the discount code upon special request, because then it gives you the opportunity that if they request it,
Mhm.
you also have the opportunity to reach out about to them about their specific needs in that moment,
Right.
and also offer your value in that specific situation, which can build trust and rapport with that person, right? Instead of
Yeah.
just like giving out all the discount codes right up front, and then they can just print out that page, run with it, and not talk to you at all,
Right. That's true.
right? And so it gives you that connection point where you can continue talking to them and building rapport and reaching out to them or stuff like that, right? As they need it. And it also prevents them, like, if you can, based on request, it prevents the sheet from being spread or printed out elsewhere,
Right.
right? If it's based on request, it also adds a layer of like, oh, like, Mason did this just for me. Like, this is really cool. Like, he took the time and sent this to me because of my specific need, right? Builds that rapport as
That's
well.
true too. Yeah.
And as well, if you give out the discount codes only once you go under contract, um, you can have a stipulation in there of like, hey, like, don't reprint this and post it on social media.
Right. You don't hear
Right.
that.
And so you can have that little extra security in there for all the
Right.
hard work that you put in thus far.
Yeah.
So like but there's a different ways to frame it. There's different ways to do it. That's like my like
I could also
5 minute, very rough.
I could also write up a buyer broker agreement where if you want to buy a house, before I can show you anything, you have to sign this form that says, hey, I recognize that if I end up buying this house, then I'm going to pay you commission. Here's the commission I'm going to pay you. This contract is active for 180 days or however long I choose to write it for, right? I could modify my buyer broker agreement to say, hey, I'm going to work with you. This contract is active for 180 days. Here's your split. I'm also going to be using your discount codes and I'm not going to print it or share it with anybody else. I can write it into that contract
Yeah. Yeah.
and then have them sign that. Say, hey, every buyer has to sign this. Here's the other contingencies that I include. Sign it,
Yeah.
and then I'll get you the client through. So that's something that I'll probably look into once I get closer to the 100% mark when I only have like a couple left. And I have to start thinking about how I'm going to get this to people.
Mm.
But yeah, that's my business update.
Yeah. Very cool. Good business update. What a good volume this week. So that's
Yeah,
awesome to see.
yeah, it was shorter in summary, but
Yeah.
still a lot of
Great
stuff.
volume. Yeah.
Yeah. You're,
Um,
oh,
Yeah, and I thought about what you said too about like the site about like quality versus speed, right? And I think it's a balancing act. I think it's a matter of reps, and I do want the reps to be quality.
right.
Um, and I think honestly, it would just be a factor of the more reps I do, the better I will understand quality versus quantity.
Hmm.
And right now I'm prioritizing. I'm trying. Well, I mean, trying's not really a, a thing. You either do or you don't. But what I'm putting my effort towards is as many reps as possible at the level of at the highest level of quality, and I'm making my best assessment of the balance between the two.
Mhm.
Right. And so I think the site was more lean. The site rebrand was more lean towards the quality side than the quantity side, of course.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that just over time, I will learn like what yields ROI and what doesn't. And I have other resources and a mentor and stuff like that that will help me. My mentor looked at the site and he was like, "Dude, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing." He
Yeah.
was like, "Did you do this yourself?" And I was like, "No, dog, no way." uh, but he really loved it. So that makes me think that all of the stuff I talked about advertising and linking it to the site and landing page style assessment of like what does better with what, right?
Right.
Connecting those dots, that's going to be a math question that I'll have to answer over the next 2 weeks.
Right.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt your flow of the business update. I mean, I guess you're wrapping up, but good business update.
Thanks.
Solid.
Thanks.
I
You
liked
too.
it.
What life updates do you have?
I have so
Or lessons learned?
lessons.
Fuck, dude, I keep fucking that up.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So I had an awesome lesson learned this week.
Okay.
Really, really good. Um, I was working Friday and I got a phone call from someone I had in my contacts, but couldn't quite remember how I got them in my contacts. So it was like a name that popped up. It was like they
So
were
a
in my
friend?
contacts. I didn't know.
Okay.
But this was like someone that I had inputted in my contact that like obviously I knew at some point
Got
in
it.
life.
But you don't remember them now.
I didn't remember them at the moment. And so I saw them and they were calling me and I was like, I don't want to pick this call up. And I was like, because I was like, I don't know who this is. I'm
Mhm.
working, like whatever. And so then I'm sitting there and then I open up the bio and it was someone from the Vault conference.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I'll call him back. And so I called them back and they're like, hey, blah, 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 you're in e-commerce, right? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, remind me real quick what you do. I was like, couldn't remember. And they're like, yeah, they were also in e-commerce. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, interesting. And they're like, yeah, I just wanted to reach out. Um, I have an event down here. This is how they're phrasing it. I have an event down here that's e-commerce related. Led by a six-figure e-commerce entrepreneur who's done or sorry, seven-figure e-commerce entrepreneur who's done seven figures for the last 30 years. I have an invite to the event and I was wondering if you were curious to go. And I was like, I'm interested, but where is here?
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, oh, down in Fort Lauderdale. Are you
Okay.
not local? And I was like, no, I live in Satellite Beach. And he was like, "Well, it's a really cool event. Seven-figure entrepreneur. I know him personally. I could probably get you in a small discussion with him,
Mhm.
or potentially dinner afterwards. I might be having dinner afterwards. It just depends, on the size and stuff like that. I can't guarantee anything, but I could probably at least get you a conversation with him and talk about some e-commerce stuff. Um,
7 figures for 30 years is a long time.
yeah, yeah,
1995?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, I've I've taken a lot of what I've done in business have been unreasonable risks, right? Like I bought a business that was break even from someone in another country I'd never met before on the bank that A, they weren't lying to me, and B, that like this was all going to pull through, and C, that I was going to be able to make this work long term. Like or I hired someone in branding who was in fashion design on the bet from one conversation that I had with them at a conference, right? I've taken some like on paper risks that are like this is really dumb, right? But traditionally it has worked out at least to teach me something and I've learned from it and a good amount of the time it's actually been beneficial to my growth and development, right? And so I was sitting there and I was thinking, and I asked a few more questions because I was very hesitant, but I was like, how big is this room? Right? Because I didn't want to go down there
How
and have
big
it
is
be
the
like,
room? Like, how many people?
yeah, how many
Okay.
people is this?
Right.
Right. Because I didn't want to go down there and realize it's like 1,000 person event and he just like had a ticket he wanted to offload or
Right,
like
right.
whatever, right? If I'm going to drive 3 hours, I want to be able to talk with someone in e-commerce
You
in
don't wanna
who's
you don't wanna
higher
sit at a
me.
presentation. You want
Right. I don't want to
somebody
set a
to
presentation.
yeah.
And he was like 100 to 200 people. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then I was like, I asked a few more questions about like where the location was, how long it was, um, and he sold me on it from the perspective of, and this is very interesting. He didn't lie about anything, but the way it was framed left out important details.
Okay.
And so he was a seven-figure entrepreneur in e-commerce, but he was selling commodities, which is like very, very broad. And I didn't reassess this afterwards. What I should have done is I asked all these questions and I said, okay, seven-figure earner for the last 30 years in
So,
e-commerce with experience.
for
And
my context, did you go to this event or is this in the
yes,
future?
yeah, yeah,
You did?
yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Cool.
went to
Cool, cool,
this.
cool. Keep going.
And so a small group of people. He knows the guy. He hasn't seen him for a while, but he's going to be having dinner. I have the potential to have a conversation with him, ask some good questions. So I'm thinking about this from the perspective of, okay, he's in e-commerce. He's a good earner. He's done this for a long time. He probably has some plans for the fourth quarter. So I pulled up and I made a condensed sheet of like LTV to CAC, ROAS, right? All the different metrics of the store. That's what I did after I committed to this.
Did you have to pay for this ticket?
No,
Okay.
no. Um, Now what the first red flag that I should have seen was that um when I after the phone call I was like, yeah, I'll make it down. I'll come down. The first red flag I should have seen was I asked him for the name via text after the call because I wanted to do some research on the guy.
Mhm.
And he sent me the first name, and then when I asked, like, I was like, "Hey, like, can you send me like first and last name so I
Right.
can like do my due diligence?" He was like, "Yeah, I have someone else interested too," or it was like, "I have a couple other people that I'm coming with as well. I'm gonna send them the info. I'll send them to you." And then that turned into, "I'll just tell you at the event." Right? That was the first red flag. I should have known better. First lesson learned. If someone doesn't send you first and last name of someone that you're going to see, fucking don't go. Okay? Got it. Super simple lesson, but like something I should have learned, right?
Okay.
If someone's because if I'm excited about someone, right? Then I want to tell the other person about that person and I want to answer their questions.
Right.
I should have seen that. And what sucks is that I didn't listen to myself, and after that moment, I was like, "This seems fishy." But I was too absorbed into I don't want to back out of it
Mhm.
to back out of it, and so that was an important lesson learned for me is that I I need to be able to reassess situations based on clear red flags before I make commitments like this, right?
Mhm.
And so I drove down there and I took the opportunity to listen to some good podcasts, a lot of different meta advice, right? So
On the drive.
it's not like I would just listen to like music for 3 hours
Right. Right.
down there, right? Like I listened to stuff that like helped me out, right?
Use your time.
Yeah, I used my time wisely. It wasn't what I planned to do that day, but I used it as best I could. I got there, and this is where it got really, really, really interesting.
So is this at a convention center or a hotel?
Very, very small convention center.
Okay.
Very small. I got there and everyone was this is just like wild story. I got there and everyone was very happy to be there. And he said, "Oh, like make sure you dress presentable or dress nice, right?" And so like he said like formal, and he
Okay.
said it like twice. And so I was like, "Okay, like I don't have a suit jacket, like I literally don't own one, but I'll wear a tie,
Yeah.
right? I'll wear a tie. I'll look like I'm going to a job interview, pretty much,
Sure.
right?" And so I got there, everyone's in suit and tie, like suit and tie.
Okay.
I'm like, I am underdressed, and I'm nicely dressed, right?
Right.
But I am underdressed. And everyone's very happy, very good looking, right? Which is like odd. Like usually when you go to like a business thing, like there's always like 25% of the people at least got to be ugly tech people,
Standard split. Yeah.
especially in e-commerce, right? It's like there's gonna be some ugly folks down there, right? Like that was my
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
All good looking, fit, suit and tie, and I was like, what the fuck? That I just dropped down to, right? And so I get there and then I'm like, I'm chatting with a few of the people, and like some of the people are involved in e-commerce, but it's kind of broad strokes, from what they're telling me. And others of them like just have a normal 9 to 5, and they're there to learn. And I'm like, what is this place?
Is it an MLM?
It is an MLM.
Oh, dude. Okay, keep going.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah. And so I got into the conference, and it's like it's not 100 to 200 people. It's like 60
Okay.
probably.
So they undersold.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And but the room's not even that like, it couldn't have even fit 100 to 200.
So it was a full room.
It was full chairs. The room was slightly larger, but it was, chairs that you pull out
Got
to
it. Yeah.
set up in the room. There was probably only 60 chairs,
Got it.
right? 50, 60 chairs. And so I get there, and I'm like, "This is really odd. I'm not gonna leave right now
Mhm.
because I drove 3 hours. I might as well see what I can extract out of this experience."
Here for the plot.
Right, here for the plot. Now I'm here for story time, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm like, all right, this was a waste of my time. I fucked up. Recognize that, right? How can I get the best ROI on this to never do this again,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm there and I'm sitting there and the main guy comes in, this 30-year e-commerce guy,
Can we give him a name?
Scott. That's his real name.
Okay.
I actually still don't know his last name. I never found that out.
Okay.
And so Scott comes in, and the guy who invited me to the event introduces him to me. And he introduces me as someone who has my own e-commerce brand, but I'm interested in getting into commodities. And I was like, I never said that.
What is a commodity?
Right. Like, this is
Yeah.
so broad.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you like? Okay. Like, I'll just run with it. Like, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, this is real fishy.
Yeah.
And so he introduces me, and that's the only time I spoke to him. I spoke to him for approximately 5 seconds, introduced myself, yeah, and said, "Thank you for having me," right? Be polite, right?
Sure.
There's no point in being rude, right? I'm already down there. And also, it's a bunch of people who are oddly happy and good looking. Like, I don't even
Right.
know if I'm in a cult at this point, right? Like, right? Like, there's a million questions to be
Yeah.
answered. So, like,
They're gonna pass out the white hoods in a second.
yeah, be polite to make sure that you can leave, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, polite, whatever. That was the only time I spoke to him. And so I sit down and he gets up on stage and it's a room of 60 people and it's like I've been to a bunch of different lecture halls and stuff like that. The room erupted in a way to like applaud him
Mhm.
that I'd like rarely seen at like even like some of the best concerts in the world.
So the other people here must be familiar with this guy somehow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But this is where it gets really interesting. So after the event, he sent me a link to a bunch of other videos about like what they do, right?
Okay.
And I was listening to some of the intro stuff, just like listening to some of the videos. I was curious on my drive home. Spent maybe 30 minutes scanning through a few of them,
Mhm.
and they were all very similar flavor to where it's some guy who's presented, and then you hear this like room erupt, and they had a Zoom call recording going on
Mhm.
of just him on the stage, right? That was being live streamed. And so I was like, "Okay, like, this is, like, another one of those recordings I'm listening to." And so I'm listening to recordings on my phone on my drive home, and I'm like, "Oh, man, like, these are all rooms of, like, 60 people of, like, just different parts of the country."
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just like a traveling circus of
Yeah.
getting different groups of 60 people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it gets even more interesting.
Huh.
At this point, I don't realize yet that it's an MLM,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? At this point, I'm like, "This is a really weird e-commerce thing." I've also been introduced in a way that misframes what I came here for.
Right.
The people
It's all
all
too
nice,
vague.
but, like,
It's all too
it's
vague.
all too
No
vague.
one's speaking in specifics.
I already knew that I fucked up, but I don't know why yet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm going through the e-commerce thing, and then the room erupts to like applaud this guy, and I'm uh, like,
Yeah.
yay,
Yeah.
like don't know you, but like cool, right? Um, so he gets up there, he starts talking, and it's very interesting because a lot of the business side advice that he's giving is coming from a like mental framework, hard work perspective. Like you just have like you're only restricted by how hard you work, which isn't false.
Mhm.
Like it was so interesting because nothing that he said was false.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, yes, like of course you're only restricted by how hard you work and how much effort you put in. Like if
Mhm.
you don't put in effort, you won't see results. The dirt.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are obvious factors that like played into this.
Right.
And so I was like, it was very, very interesting because he also talked about 401k and he was like, 401k is not even like a real retirement. Right. And he talked about that and like the
Okay.
stuff that because he was saying about like retirement package and how like, he actually referenced similar stuff to like some of what you and I have talked about
Sure.
about the downsides of 401ks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, this is really interesting because the information isn't really quite false.
So you didn't pay for this ticket.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Because
Keep going. Keep going. I'm
because
tracking. I'm tracking
his goal was to sell me into
after this.
this.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Right.
So he's talking about
He's talking about this, talking about that, and then
10x.
he just
Full
pulled
exit. Okay.
kind of that style of like you have to work super super hard. And so then they pull up the this is really interesting. They pull up the poster boards
Mhm.
of like how you make because like to me it was posed as e-commerce informational session from someone who is seven figures in e-com.
Right.
So I was thinking of like okay, like fourth quarter highlights, like what are you guys focusing on advertising? I was like lesson learned,
Right.
right? And so he pulls up this board, and I'm like, "Oh, man, this is great." And so he pulls up this, and he's like, essentially essentially he gives this feel of like, you get involved, and he gives the different obviously, anything in a pyramid scheme this was really, really interesting. He was talking about it, and he was, like, in his presentation, twice he said, "You know how people, they call this a pyramid scheme, but it's not." And I was like, "Pyramid scheme," and I'm like, well, what's fascinating is that what I learned afterwards is that there's several people in that room that have been involved with this for over a decade.
Well, to some extent, pyramid schemes work.
Yes,
To some
yes.
extent.
It's not that like, and it's not inherently a pyramid scheme because you're not making money solely off of the people you recruit into it. But the only way you progress through the company is through more sales and finding more people to sell for you, because your profit comes from the sales commission, but the sales commission is proportional to how many people you bring in. So it's not directly because you're bringing in people
Right.
that you're getting paid more, but the only real vehicle to get paid more is by getting more people to sell your
Right.
stuff. Not just selling more stuff, but actually getting more people to sell your stuff,
Right. Exactly.
right? And so, I start looking at this, and everything on the board is horizontal layout,
Okay.
right? Nothing is like,
Pyramid shaped.
it would yeah, it would have been actually a lot easier to describe what he's saying if they laid it out in a pyramid. It would have been a lot friggin' easier, because it was like, boy, you find 6 people, and then those six people find 6 people each, and then that's how you get to here, and then you progress into this, and then you like it would have been
Seen the Office bit, right?
I thought of that, and I was like, "Oh man, this is so good." I was sitting there, I was like, "Oh man, this is a treat." And so, I was looking at this, and I was like, "Man, it was really interesting from a marketing perspective, because it was like business information that's not inherently false, but vague enough to where it can be true regardless,
Yeah.
right?" And it was marketing in terms of, it was laid out in such a way that didn't make it obvious that it's a pyramid scheme, but
Right.
like it is a pyramid structure. And it's also interesting because it's not like it inherently can't work.
Hmm.
Like, effectively, the business model works. Like, if you find 6 other people to sell this product, and those 6 people each find 6 other people, like, you will make money,
Right.
right? But it's interesting because it's like the ROI on your time in order to get all of those people,
Right.
like, and then it got really interesting because I started talking about like talking to the guy about what his experience was like, how his business model works. And I was like, "How are you restricted in like advertising? Like, how do you do outreach?" And he's like, "We're restricted from marketing online, so we can only do it
Because
first."
it's an MLM, so they'll get banned for everything.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but what I thought of was
Who's restricted from marketing online?
the contract they sign when they jump into this program, because it's not framed as an MLM. It's framed
Of
as
course.
you can own your own business and capitalize on the products we have available
Right.
in order to grow as an entrepreneur,
Right.
right? That's how it's framed. And so I was like, of course you're not allowed to market online, because imagine this company worldwide. Actually, the name of it's worldwide, which is interesting. Um, but this company is like 2 to 3 million sales reps around the world, right?
Damn.
If you had 2 to 3 million people
That's a
all
lot.
advertising the same products online,
Right.
it would be a nightmare. The only way this model works
No quality
is
control.
if you have locally smaller groups of people who then find other people locally
Right.
and build the trust through in-person rapport.
Right.
That is the only way this works. And so I was like, that's why.
How far down the food chain is Scott?
Well, this
Who is
this is
he recruited by, and were they recruited by someone?
so
Where's
he
the
got
top
into
of the
it
ladder?
many, many years ago.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, this is really, really interesting. Now, they didn't discuss this on the presentations, but it's something I picked up on. Someone asked him a question of like, what would you have done differently after your first year? Someone else in the audience. And I was like, yeah, like, fair question. Right. And he was like, and the guy on the stage, Scott, said, I wish I had worked harder my second year, because then I wouldn't have to be sponsoring as many people currently.
Hmm.
And that was really interesting to me. So I was like, up front, there's nothing about like recruiting is your only, like, you still make money through sales, right? It's obviously for a recruiting method, but it's still make money through sales. Now, what's really interesting is that why is your success today dependent on how hard you worked in year 2
Well, he's 30 years into it.
when he's 30 years into it, right?
Well,
It's
if
like,
it compounds, right?
right, or if it's about speed,
Right.
right? Those are all factors.
Right.
Because he said, yeah, if I'd worked harder in year 2, like I could be and he referenced someone else who was above him.
If I started investing when I was 19 instead of 20, then when I retire, I could have an additional $1 million in my retirement account. It's that because it compounds and scales.
Right, but I think it's
Exponentially.
even like you get what I inferenced was that you get restricted from moving up too.
Oh, you like that's what that was?
I think
Oh,
it's like
like
a
if you don't
layered system,
perform
like
well
you
enough?
gotta perform well enough and quickly enough in order to progress through,
Huh.
and then if you don't meet the bar by certain timelines, it gets harder for you to progress up. which makes sense in this style of system because
Right.
you want the fewest people at the top as possible because it's all like a trickle down effect. It's about the masses, right? You don't want
Right.
everyone at the top because then it doesn't work,
Right.
right? And so that's what I inferenced from his mention of year two is like if he'd worked harder in year two, he'd be way ahead now,
Right.
right? Because if he year two didn't matter, then 29 years versus 30 years versus 31 years then would like still be growth. But
Right.
he framed it as though he's kind of stuck at the level
Like
he's
he's
at.
capped.
But he's doing well, but he's capped.
Right.
Or at least like um at
That's the
least
inference.
yeah, the inference or at least like operationally like maybe he could progress, but it's just like so hard at this point that it doesn't matter.
Right.
Um and so that was really, really interesting to me. And so um I learned some valuable lessons from this, and that the first one, if someone doesn't give you the first and last name of someone you're going to see, just bail,
Well, so what was the
bail.
call to action?
The call to action was pushed down to the individual person that brought you.
Mhm.
Um, they send you some links of info links and schedule a meeting and blah blah blah.
And so then they recruit you, and then they'll hook you up with the
Yeah,
product.
and the
Fine.
whole premise is if you're hesitant about this sort of thing or you don't know what to expect, just to come to one more meeting. Right? It's always about just one more meeting, just one more meeting, just one more
Right.
meeting, right?
Right.
Very, very interesting. And it was a really interesting it honestly made me sad in some ways,
Yeah. Well, you're not providing any value.
right?
It's a valueless business that still makes money.
Yeah, yeah, and well, it made me sad for the people there too because it's not like they're bad people.
No, not at all.
Or yeah, right? And it's
Not even the people selling it are bad people. Some of the people selling it don't even recognize that that's what they're in.
yeah, yeah, and the guy who brought me, he was talking to me. He mentioned this girl that he was talking to that he was bringing into this,
Right.
right? And he was like, "Yeah, she had her own Shopify jewelry business, but it wasn't doing well. And so now she's kind of coming on here and trying this thing, this MLM thing."
Right.
And I listened, like it just like broke my heart of like some poor 25-year-old girl out there, like probably just doesn't know how to fucking advertise.
Mhm.
Like it's hard,
Yeah.
right? The shit's hard,
Yeah.
right? And it's like some poor 25-year-old girl out there is struggling, trying to get a jewelry business to going, and she's getting fucking swindled into this MLM thing.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck,
I think there's a couple frames here, right?
you know?
The frame that I prefer, and the reason why I resonate with Hermosi's stuff, is that the answer to that is you want a successful jewelry store. I will give you the formulas that will make a successful jewelry store, and then you go do the work, right? Love that.
Yeah.
This is a so help me understand here because I'm assuming that what this MLM people is saying is, hey, your jewelry store isn't doing well, but if you help us, if you help us find people to buy our product, then you earn commission.
Well, also the big frame is that there's a lot of events and meetings, right? And so
Right.
there's a lot of it's like you have a community to help you grow, right?
Right.
Like that's a big part of the framing.
So
But also inherently it's genius because it's a community that helps you grow. It's also a community that helps you stay,
right.
right? So it's
So the product that they're selling is like e-commerce advice. Like that's the end product that they're trying to sell.
end product. The two end products that I saw were protein shakes and energy drinks and supplements.
Really?
Yeah.
So why were they getting e-commerce people in here? Just fucking because?
I think I was the only e-commerce person in there.
And the girl with the Shopify store. That explains
Maybe
why
just
that explains why everyone there was good looking because people who are already working out have already resonate with protein shakes and stuff and could advertise that.
also just like by and large, if someone walks up to you who's good looking, fit, and happy,
Yeah,
and they're trying to sell you, like it's just an easier sell.
that's true. Although I'll also say that if you're selling fitness industry stuff, it goes even further,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
And I think they have a lot of different products. Those are the only ones I saw, and I didn't look too far into it, but
right.
it was very interesting.
It sucks because you take a candidate like this Shopify girl with her jewelry store, and then you say, "Hey, we're gonna give you a way to make money by selling our protein shakes," and then recruiting people to sell our protein shakes, which makes you more
Yeah.
money,
And
right?
it's so easy to sell that jewelry store girl on it because it's like, I know you're struggling. This is really, really hard. Look at what I've done in this community. Like it's
What you're
very easy to sell.
what you're doing doesn't work, and what I do does,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to
Help
take you under
coach
my wing and help you grow in this path, right?
absolutely.
But I think that the struggle with that is it's all capped, right? Like it's all everything in that world is it's just selling people on selling people. It's not selling a product at the end of the day, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you could say it's the protein shakes,
This
but
product
like
is the product is a vehicle for you to sell people on people.
exactly, right? It's not actually like no one gets an award for selling the most number of protein shakes, right? People get awards or pats on the backs or whatever for recruiting the most people to go sell those protein shakes, right? It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And so then you're selling people on selling people. You're not even teaching them how to sell. You're just trying to get them to sign the paper, which is, in my opinion, a valueless business because you're not actually providing any member of the value
Yeah,
chain.
and it's like some of the conferences are like, yeah, maybe there's some value in there for, but it's like I was like thinking about the conferences and listening to some of the audio on the website that the guy sent me, and I was listening to it and I was like, there's so much fucking awesome free content on YouTube. It's like why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. Well, and like even vague advice, like work harder, you can glean some type of value from, right?
Yeah.
But if someone's trying to hire you or get you into a business and everything is still real vague, people in desperate situations are willing to go along with it because they don't want to lose the opportunity. And then they get down the line and they realize that there is no specificity and they don't know what they're doing. And then they're selling other people out of desperation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what's sad to me.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting experience. I think
Oh,
it was fascinating. I mean, I'm sorry I fucking pissed my time away driving down there, but at the same
yeah.
time, I think that I could have. There are other ways that I could have learned a similar lesson that would have taken up more time,
Yeah.
right? And so for me to like clearly make an effort to go do something based on X, Y, and Z premises, like I learned a few key things about like I got to ask more questions and I gotta be willing to stick to my guns when
Yeah.
I start to see red flags or I need to make a decision about something.
Yeah.
And now those were two important things that I think are very valuable to my growth and self-development. And if it takes me 6 hours of wasted driving to learn those two lessons for my entire life, then I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right.
If the dropout lesson is like ask specific questions, and if someone can't give specific answers, then call into question either their understanding of the topic or the topic itself.
Yeah.
What I'm learning from this is you and I could be crazy awesome MLM. Uh,
Well, that was
operate
scary too. It's like I could
Anybody can do it.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what was really scary.
If you are eloquent, right? And like imagine if we got into like any level of specificity, we could make a compelling MLM on selling the product and recruiting people. If you sold, oh fuck, this is how we make our money. We make an MLM that teaches people who run MLMs how to hire recruits. So we teach the
Oh,
specific
fuck. We gotta cut
mechanics.
this out of the YouTube video. Someone's gonna do it and screw up a million people's lives.
I'm sure it's already out there, but isn't that
Yes.
isn't that you, dude? You can MLM the MLM people.
Yeah.
You just give them the techniques on how to recruit people,
Yeah.
like the CIA techniques of how to gain someone's trust and then turn them into someone who works for
That's
you.
terrible. Yeah, but it was very interesting. Very, very interesting.
You say it's terrible, but that business adds value to an MLM business, which doesn't add any value to any of these. So inherently, that business is more profitable.
Right.
Oh man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
Good story though.
yeah, no, good story. Very interesting. I was like, when I saw that everyone was like super happy and good looking and like I was uh, like where's the depressed guy that he doesn't know what to do for the fourth quarter of the year in e-commerce. Like, where's he?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for the one, the one sad face in the corner. It's like, no, like none of these people are them. I'm like,
Right.
oh shit.
They don't know what they're here for.
Yeah, yeah. And so,
They're excited. They're told, hey, come do this meeting, and we're gonna give you a way to make money.
yeah, yeah. And so the guy that messaged me this stuff, he wants to have a meeting, and I haven't texted him back
You
yet.
should have them on the podcast. I'm kidding.
No, no. I'm gonna probably have a 5-minute meeting with him, and I'll be very straight up with him, and I'll be like, hey man, appreciate you letting me know about this event, right? Because honestly, it's on me for not asking more questions and not following my instincts. So I'll take like it's my fault, my loss, right? I was like, I appreciate you letting me know about this thing. This is not my flavor. I have my own business. Please don't ever bother me about anything related to this ever again. Do not waste my time.
Yeah.
And like, if he goes from there at all, like if he starts to try and like talk me into it or whatever, I'm like, I am getting off of this Zoom call. Do not contact me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's like I have learned my lesson, and I want to minimize the amount of time that I have to interact with this person about this.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have learned my lesson. You have wasted my time.
Right.
I do not plan to be fooled twice.
Right.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what sucks is that I actually, after he started talking to me about how we met at the ball, I actually remember the guy. He was actually a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
a solid dude. Um, and so I feel bad for him in that sense. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
it sucks because he didn't really
is
lie
he
to me.
is he an
But
e-commerce guy? Or does he think that he's helping connect e-commerce people who need help and e-commerce
yes,
people who can help them? Right?
yes,
Does he not know that he's actually like he doesn't have any specificity because he doesn't know anything about the business, right? You know because you're in the business. But if you were brand new to this, you might be like, I don't know, let's see what it's about. I'll get into this, whatever. Well, actually, no, because even that's not e-commerce, right? Well, they're selling the fucking protein shakes. I forgot about that.
I mean, he technically is in e-commerce, and this is a seven-figure earner in e-commerce. Like nothing he said was
Is that
technically
true?
incorrect.
Could you verify that? Or did he have graphs or anything?
So
I'm an eight-figure earner in e-commerce.
fair
MLM.
fair enough. I couldn't verify it, but I can verify at least that he was in e-commerce and he'd been in it for a long time.
Got it.
That he had,
Got it.
right? And so there was something to that extent.
Yeah.
Um,
How are you in e-commerce in your MLM if you're not allowed to advertise online?
that's an excellent question.
You should ask your boy that when you get on your 5-minute call.
Yeah.
What e-commerce business is he in, and why did he not talk about it at all at his conference?
Well, he did. It was the MLM. That is I guess,
Okay.
but that's an excellent question because you're not really selling online.
Right. What do you Well, you can't recruit people online. Is he saying
I don't know
selling
what the
protein
exact
shakes online?
restrictions are,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I know there's restrictions on advertising. But you do you do have a website. That's why it's e-commerce. You have
That's
a
why it's e-commerce, because you have a
you
website?
have a website because
What
you're
selling
selling
website?
something online.
The protein shakes?
Yeah, they're available online, and the energy drinks are available online. You can't advertise online, but the sales
They're
are
available
on the
online?
website online, right?
Okay.
Right, and so this is like
That's so gimmicky, dude.
right, but, what honestly pissed me off is that, like, nothing he said was in what really pissed me off is that, like, that nothing he said was false, really, but it is so far removed from what assumed definitions and truths are
Right.
that, like it's like, "Dude, like, why are you doing this?" Like, there's honest, good people out there that wanna learn about what real fucking e-commerce is.
Right.
Real e-commerce,
Right.
not your MLM pyramid scheme.
Right.
Don't sell them like this.
You can't sell to real e-commerce people if you don't know how to do e-commerce. And he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, he didn't know any better, I
Right.
guess, right?
Well,
Potentially.
he's instead of going and developing a skill and
Yeah.
then selling that skill, he's skipping the learning part and going straight to selling. So he's selling a crock of shit, right? And most people don't know what e-commerce means. How many people in the crowd with you do you think knew what e-commerce was?
I don't know.
Do you think they know what LTV to CAC even means?
Mhm.
Probably
I didn't ask.
Probably not, right? Scott probably doesn't either, right? But it's easy to sell someone on shit that they don't know because they don't know it. So you can make shit up,
Yeah.
right?
You just sell them a dream
You
and
have
have
the
achieve likelihood of achievement by having a group of people around.
Yeah, that's the value equation variable that they have there, right? Is that
Yeah.
you can make your own definitions when it comes to e-commerce and shit. And then once they're bought into that cult, they're not going to go do their independent research, right?
Yeah.
Because they're learning from you.
Yeah. Or even if they do independent research, there's a million ways to frame it.
Yeah.
In that, like, well, yeah, of course, because this is the way they framed it at the event too. They were like, of course, other people are going to tell you that it's a scam because that's the 99% of people that you're talking to, and if you want to be in the 1%, you have to think like the 1%, right? And so it's like,
Yeah, the 1% of people that get scammed by an MLM.
well, it's probably more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
Dude,
Very interesting.
I'd love for you to record this conversation with this guy so I could listen to it. Cause like the hard hitting questions are like, okay, cool. I'm game. I'm gonna sign up to whatever you want me to sign up for. Tell me what part of it is e-commerce. Do I get a website to sell stuff on? Cool. Awesome. I know how to build a website. I just build one for my toy brand. Can I advertise? Can I advertise on Facebook? Can I use Google ads? Can I do YouTube ads? Can I print out flyers and put them around my town? What can I do to advertise my product? Because if you can't advertise it, then it's not e-commerce. There's no commerce part. It's just the E,
Yeah.
right? So then what the fuck am I supposed to do? It's not, and even then, it's just the E, right? But if you tell me that I have to go find recruits in person, we lose the E. What are we doing here? There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no part of
Yeah.
commerce in that.
E and commerce, but they are separate entities.
Yeah. I'd love to hear the answer to that. Yeah. And then you'll probably flounder his way through it. And then you'll say, listen, dude, like there's a whole lot of value in specificity and there's not a whole lot of value in vagueness, right?
Yeah.
Like you can sell people who are afraid to raise their hand in math class on vague statements, right? That's why Grant Cardone has it in business.
Yeah.
Because he just tells people to 10x stuff behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the value in Hormozy is that he gets specificity for free and then that works.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, very interesting. So really good lesson learned. Um, will never be bothered by his specific shit again. Um, yeah, very interesting. It was actually also interesting because there were 2 or 3 other people there that I recognized from when I went to Fort Lauderdale
Mm-hmm.
for the hangar, like, event. There was other people there that I had actually recognized, and I'm like, "I met you." And so it wasn't
They
like
also getting scammed or were they doing the scamming?
they were in it. Like, they were in it for
Doing
several years.
doing the
Yeah,
scamming.
yeah.
Dude, so then that makes you wonder, how many people did you talk to at the Vault conference who you thought were there under genuine circumstances, but they were just recruiting for their MLM? Because
Well,
they might not care what
yeah.
BBD has to say.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. There are a few people that hands down, like, I can pull up their profile and, like, this person what this person's real. Like, this person's legit. Like, there were some people I met at the Vault that were like, "Okay,
Oh,
like, this person's, like, the actual president of this investment firm, and I can look at the investment firm's website
sure,
and
sure.
see his profile."
Yeah.
like, I'd met people like that, but
But you didn't
it's
pull up
very
your
interesting.
boy who got you for this thing, right?
No,
Because he didn't have anything to pull up. But
right.
then how many people are at that conference? Because you would assume, oh, everybody at this conference is just like you who's there to get better. But there are some that go there to just try to sell their shit to other people.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fucking lampreys.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, good lesson learned.
Yeah.
But also like as a small like last point, um, if I guess this is generally speaking, like when you sell someone on something, if you are selling them, people generally know when they're selling them on something that's perceived as a lie.
Hmm.
For example, like this guy that sold me to come to this event, he knew I was driving 3 hours and knew what my business was and knew what I did.
He had
Do you
also
think
had
that
a
you're going to
conversation-
get good rapport with me when I show up to this and it is not what you have clearly pitched to me?
Right. Right. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Like, honestly, he's really lucky that, like, I know people who would steamroll this guy on social media, right?
You're probably looking at one, to be frank.
But it's like
Or other people at the conference, right? Like, there's nothing stopping you from standing up and being like, this is an MLM. Anybody who can't see it, if you are here to sign up for an MLM, you're in the right place. But if you're here to make actual, like, e-commerce knowledge, you're about to get robbed.
yeah,
Like, you could have fucked up that whole event for that.
I could have. I
Yeah.
could have. And like honestly, he's really lucky that like I'm not the type of person to go on social media and absolutely put this on blast.
Right.
Because I could make a very fucking compelling argument.
You know, when you Google Miroslav Jistina's name, all of our shit comes up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like if like most people when you Google them, when you Google me, a lot of shit comes up. Florida Tech lawsuit, stuff from high school, SAE, SGA, I won a couple scholarships, all the Vision 79 stuff, now real estate, like a lot of stuff comes up when you have my name. So if there's something negative about me out there, it might not be on the first page, right? But most people are completely anonymous. Most people, when you Google them, they don't come up. Maybe they're Facebook, right? And so if you make a post about them that gets even a little bit of engagement, that's probably the top item that comes up when they search the name. Then it's the first clicked, and then it's a cycle of it's a positive feedback loop where that'll be the first thing for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but it's like, it's, yeah, very, very interesting experience.
Yeah.
Um, essentially, I'm gonna be like, never fucking bother me about this again.
Yeah.
Do not fucking contact me. Do not reach out to me. Do not waste my time.
Yeah.
I have, frankly, a real fucking business,
Yeah.
and I would like to work on it and not be bothered by
Dude,
your shit.
I would also send him a Hormozy podcast and be like, dude, I'd like to give you the benefit of the doubt that you don't know what you're talking about. So here's some information that can help inform you that you're in a business that is not sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Get out.
yeah, yeah. But very interesting. But that was my main lesson learned this week.
Cool.
And the fact that I still don't know Scott's last name, I think is, um, I don't think that's accidental. I think there are people who have come to these events who have raised hell,
Right.
and it's important that the speaker's last name is unknown until you're in the club.
I wonder if I wonder if one of the reasons they didn't actually have, because you would think that they're probably capable of getting like 2 to 500 people for this. They're probably capable of that, but I wonder if they keep the serving size small because if they have a bad session, they don't want to burn 200 recruits. They're only like if you stood up on your chair and made it fit, they lose 50, 60 people. But if you had a room of 500, A, you're increasing the risk, but B, you're increasing the likelihood that you have someone in that batch who will start saying that stuff. So it's kind of like take your small batch, isolate them, and then, you know,
Yeah, very interesting.
yeah,
Very
interesting.
interesting. But if anything, that experience got me to really cloud out the noise.
Yeah.
Oh, because like at this point, like after that, I was like I fucked up. I learned my lesson. This was a good lesson, an important lesson. Also, I like I thought about this on the way here. It was like after this, I no longer have FOMO. I no longer have like fear of missing out. I have fear of being involved. Don't tell me about your shit. I don't want to fucking know about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't know. I want to know what you're doing. I don't want to be involved with whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
Like, excluding like obviously, I love to hear your business updates. But
No, I
like,
get it.
but, like people call me up for like, hey man, I got this e-card, but like fucking leave me out of it. I don't want it. Fear of being involved. Do not tell me. Right?
Phoebe?
Phoebe. Yeah.
Phoebe? I've
Yeah.
got fear of being involved.
And it's like, it's for the people that I don't know, like for the people kind of like outside of like my immediate sphere. So like essentially outside of like you and Sammy, right? It's
Yeah.
like awesome to hear about your stuff. Please don't wrap me into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the thing I got out of this, right?
Yeah, I can draw a lot of parallels to the real estate stuff, and it's this is a perfect example of how people get into real estate and then they just start selling, but they don't know what they're selling.
Yeah.
With this guy's like, bro, just come, it's gonna be great. Like we're gonna make a lot of money, it's gonna be awesome, and then he doesn't actually know what he's selling.
Yeah.
And something that I'm realizing from this is that when you ask specific questions, because you did ask some specific questions, right? He gave vague answers and then snaked out of it and told you he'd tell you later, right? And in real estate, you'll either get that or flat out lies where they're incorrect and they don't know if they're
Well,
correct.
one of the things with a flat out lie of 100 to 200 people.
Exactly, right?
I mean, the room wasn't even big enough to fit 200 people.
Exactly. They knew ahead of time, right? And so in real estate, if you have someone where they're like, "Oh, I'm like," they'll make a claim, right? And then you challenge that claim. Like when Tyler was like, "Oh yeah, like my lender can do a thing where there's an apartment lease break fee cover where if you break your apartment lease to go buy a house, then this lender will cover it," right? And I was like, "That doesn't sound right, right?" And so then I went and I talked to that lender, and they were like, "No, that doesn't exist. You could do credits at closing to offset the cost, but there's nothing that like directly pays the
Yeah.
apartment complex." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's probably an agent making an assumption and then stating a claim as fact without really knowing if they're right or wrong. So then they'll claim negligence later, but you're saying it with certainty. And so something that I am gleaning from your experience is ask specific questions and then
And
challenge
then
those
demand
narratives.
specific
And then
specific
demand
answers.
specific answers. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So for that apartment thing, it'll be like, "Oh, well, what's the program called? How much does it cover? Is there a limit? Is there a number of times you can
Yep.
use it? Which lender offers it, right? How often have you used it?" Stuff like that. So for example, when he said, "Oh yeah, this home is listed for $260,000. We can get your mortgage to be less than your rent." I challenged that because their rent is like $1,400 a month. And he challenged back. And so I went to a mortgage calculator online and I found out that it was 1,800 a month at an absolute minimum. 1,800 a month for a 3-bed, 2-bath home ain't bad, right?
Sure.
But it's false when you say it's less than the rent. But that's a tactic that agents use to get you to sit down with them and then they'll drag you into reality. It's car salesman shit. It's selling shit to get people to buy without really knowing what you're selling or really solving the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my update. What
Okay.
is your update?
Thanks for bringing that because now I have learned a lesson as well and I never.
Yeah, yeah, that was part of my hope was like,
Yeah.
please learn from that
Yeah.
mistake.
My lesson learned is a bit shorter. I didn't really have one,
Yeah.
to be honest, but I wanted to. I don't like. I'm cool if I get to the end of the week and I'm like, I don't know, there's nothing specific, so like, nah, maybe not anything. But at the same time, it kind of feels like shit to get through a week and be like, I didn't learn anything, right? So I identified something last night. Grace and I were having a conversation with someone who she used to get along with. They almost became good friends, but this person was super flaky. They were friends with like shitty people and people who were shitty behind Grace's back. And this friend would tell Grace that, but not like stand up for her or do anything about it, right? Which is fine. Like, it's no ill feelings at all, right? Especially with people who value social interaction and friendships with other people. I kind of get it, right? But they wound up not becoming close friends. And we re-met up with this person recently the other day, and we were talking about how her friendships with those shitty friends had completely devolved and collapsed. And like there's so much drama going on with their friends and then the friends' employers and then the employers' friends and now the one person's employees with someone else and their coworkers aren't getting along. It's just a fucking nightmare, right? And Grace and I kind of laughed about it afterward. Not at this person, but like at the situation as a whole, because I sometimes forget high school drama isn't high school drama. It's just life drama. That's just the way that people live their lives. And like after high school, I decided I don't want to do that anymore. So my college was very different, right?
Mm.
And now the way I live my life is super different. I have one friend and we hang out for 3 hours a week and that's it. And I'm content with that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the Hormozy quote I have written down here is if you have low standards for friends, you will have many. If you have high standards for friends, you will have few. And this was like a very friendly reminder to me. I don't feel any pressure to have more friends or to like spend a bunch of time hanging out and
Fear of being involved.
fear of being involved. It's pretty much exactly what it is, right? And so we were laughing about it because Grace goes through periods of being lonely because, like I was sitting with her and I was like, "What do you mean you're lonely? Like we hang out all the time." And she was like, "That's different." And I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "I don't really have any friends. Like I mostly hang out with you or on my own." And she's like, "You have Sander." And I was like, "We talk for 3 hours a week, and half of it is about like attribution data in Facebook Meta's ad account shit, right? It's not like quality, deep personal conversation. We're not going out racing or anything. We
Right.
talked about it for a year, right?
Right.
And she was like, but still you have someone. And I was like, I guess that's true. But like that's something that she values that
Mm.
I realize that I have come away from. And I think that I distanced myself from that after my really bad breakup in college, where I was like, I realized that at that time, my deepest fear was being alone.
Mm.
And so I wanted to acclimate myself to being alone so that if I were put in that position again, that I would be okay with it, right? And, I'm obviously very grateful to have you and Grace in my life. Um, I also feel that if I lost both of you in a car accident tomorrow, I would be okay.
Right.
And I've
I
structured my
for
life.
you, I hope you would be.
Yeah. And
Right.
I have structured my life in a way that I intend to be the last of everybody I know to die because I feel that I can handle that loss better than the other people,
Mm.
right? Um, and that's not in like a mean way or in a way that I hope that happens at all. But it's
Sure.
in a way of like I know I have suffered before. I've suffered loss before and I can suffer loss again. And I would rather go through it myself than see my loved ones do it on my passing, right?
Mm.
And I think that that has kind of manifested itself really beautifully into this Hormozy concept of you can't expect to only befriend exceptional people and then be surprised when there are not many of them,
Mm.
right? And that preparation that I did in college for this has lent itself really nicely to not being involved with any of this like drama and social circle type of stuff. And I think that aligns pretty well with your life lesson too, where it's like fear of being involved, phobia, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I wrote down and I'm gonna keep. But that was the little lesson that I learned. It was just a moment of being grateful for the work that I put in before I really knew the significance of it, and that paying retributions now, or paying dividends now, I should say, in not getting wrapped up in all that other shit when I need to be spending this time of my life focused on what I'm doing and not dealing with other people's shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, complete. I hear that. I hear that loud and clear.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, it was I thought good lessons learned this week.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
solid and
Yeah.
good updates.
Good week.
Congrats on all the emails and the connections.
Thanks.
Two x growth in the last week, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping by
Even
next
less
week.
than the last week because it was on Tuesday we podcasted, so it's like
Yeah,
5 days.
that's true.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can get that up to around like 90 by next week, but we'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send out a crazy number of emails.
cool, awesome. Do you want to dial us in?
I didn't really know what our life updates or business updates would look like. Um, and I wasn't really sure, but I figured that something that we could both resonate with this week was this Hormozy quote. Um, it's funny. I've started um, Anna, Grace's sister, who runs the Amazon business with her fiance, also listens to Hormozy a lot. And it's really funny because it's the inverse relationship that Grace and I have, where I listen to Hormozy all the time and quote him until Grace is sick of me. And then Anna quotes Hormozy to the point that Ralph is sick of her. And so it's like the exact opposite. So now Anna and I could bond over Hormozy stuff. But I told her that I cite Hormozy quotes like a religious person cites Jesus from the Bible.
Right.
Like he is my religious figure who I quote so often. Um, and it's gotten to the point where I've kind of thought to myself, like, when I reference him, should I just stop like giving the quote source and just tell people like the message and then what? Because like I'll talk to like Eloise at the bar and she'll be talking about something and I'll go, "There's this quote by Hermosi that goes whatever," and I feel like it's kind of getting to the point that people are like, "Do you what? Like who is this guy?"
You know the meme, it's in the stadium and it's of the guy in the ball cap who's talking to the blonde woman. And it's like he's like leaned over.
Oh,
Just like it's like this.
That's me. That's me. That's basically me. And so then I stop myself and I go, no, I should quote him because people will go, who's Hormozy? And then I can send them his stuff
Yeah.
and then like propagate. I'm part of the Hormozy MLM.
I'm there, yeah.
Hormozy.
If I'm gonna buy an any MLM, it's probably gonna be a Hermosi one.
You bar bought into it, basically.
Fair enough.
Well, I guess you're not recruiting people under you, but I'm sure it'll grow.
I mean, it is multi-layer marketing.
Yeah.
Upsell after upsell.
So,
But no, I'm just kidding. The food value is amazing.
so this is my Hormozy quote for the week. Staying focused is like beating addiction. It's not a one-time victory. You have to fight it all day, every day, then wake up and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Love it. Well, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you extracted some value out of our lessons learned this week. And don't get involved in any MLMs at least for the next 7 days until the next podcast. But hope you have a good one and stay tuned for next time.